On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, the 11th anniversary has come and gone. Sorry, that was almost sing-songy. But anyway, that's a load of news out of JP to discuss with all of you. New units and everything. Plus, Ordeal Call 3 Part 2 has dropped, which means that we have to catch you up on Ordeal Call 3 Part 3 pre-game. All this and more on Let's Talk FGO. I am one of your hosts, Omega. With me, as always, is Lucky, and we're just a couple of wandering samurai.
I hope everyone's enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka that blue sky will go as far as it wants to. And while we here at Omega like to bring you the latest in FGO-related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events for the JP and EA version of the game, so anyone not wanting spoilers should pick your favorite extinction method.
True, real, very relevant. And yes, as usual, we are actually recording a normal show. I almost said normal length. I don't know if that's true. This one's probably going to be a little long. But as is usual when doing pregame stuff, there will be spoilers later. Yeah, we could probably mention it now. In the beginning at the top, the current plan is not to get into recap stuff just yet. We're not quite ready to do that. But that's okay, because that will fork into the thing I have to mention to remind everybody of in the Protips.
Okay, I found it.
Okay, you found the thing. No, sorry, I read the speaker. This is very good. Lucky's been posting in the patron chat, which is a lead into, by the way, for my usual, hey, by the way, this episode is brought to you by all of our wonderful, beautiful listeners, but especially our patrons. I'll have more to say about that at the end of the show. But Lucky's been posting a few of these stories in patron chat from a Twitter account, which is the source of the intro joke. And I know you posted them in our Discord's general as well. So we're having a little laugh behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Take a fortifying sip of water. Okay. All right. I already had another pre-segue as well, so let's check in with everybody's favorite Kohai Mash real quick as well.
Senpai, 起きてください.
Because that means it's time for Wake the Fuck Up Senpai. We're going to say for pro tips. I have a pro tip for you that I'm probably going to get to repeat for like at least a month in addition to other stuff, but hey, to remind everybody, if you want to access Ordeal Call 3, you need to clear the new summer. How do you clear the new summer? Well, you've got until 9/1. You've got until the 1st of September to do it. Then, once you have done that, you have until the 30th of September to clear Ordeal Call 3. So you still have quite a bit of time, but it can sneak up on you. So, do be careful about all that stuff going on. And yes, like I said, I think this works out because I don't know. I know some people who are catching up now to the end of Part 2. I know there are some people who are catching up just now to the end of Part 1, so there's still quite a lot of space and time involved, so we'll get to it when we get to it. I didn't put this in records, but I'm caught up on Part 2.
I am not. I am done with Part 1, but I did not want to start Part 2 until I finished writing the notes for Part 1, because I did not want my task to get bigger.
That's fair. I understand this, yes. Honestly, Part 2 isn't so bad. It's one of those things, we'll talk about it when we can talk about it in full, but it's one of those things where I'm sitting back with slightly more complete knowledge, but not complete knowledge, where I'm like, okay, was this spaced out just because, Nasu needed more time to finish writing, or they needed more time to implement this script? Or is it kind of like a thing of like, well, it's a limited time story release that's gonna have a big window, so I guess we'll space it out a little. I don't know, because having finished Part 1, that one doesn't end on like a cliffhanger or a climax. It's just kind of like, well, I guess that's the spot where we rest. It's just a rest point. You go to bed.
Take a break.
Without spoiling it, other than what I said in the pregame stream last week, check that out. Part 2 does end with a climax, but it's also pretty short to get through to up until that point. So we will do the pregame for Part 3 later. That one is, I think, one of the longer ones and tougher. So I'm not sure exactly like how the pacing works out for that. But that is your pro tip.
Tip of the pro.
That takes us to Records on the Throne, our regular achievement topic.
Well, I'll start mine off first. It's much nicer than it was. Lucky was molding for a little bit.
I did perceive the original. But I also I have noted the edit, so.
Like I said, Lucky is quick to anger, but also quick to let it go. Alright, Lucky's anger is rising again. I'm gonna go fucking put Robin in timeout just because. Hang on 1 second.
He's done it to himself. Just as an aside, Robin posting Gigi Morin emotes. I've never spiritually there is no better match of a VTuber to Robin. I need to, no, I've spoken to Robin in person. I've played D&D with him before. I can be reasonably certain that he is not, in fact, Hololive English's Gigi Morin in disguise. But it shocks me not at all that he likes to use emotes and gifs of her, because that is the energy he brings to that moment of just like, what happened? What could it be? No. Robin shot dead in the street. Killed by Canadian geese.
Anyway, so during my rolls, I was able to get an MP2 BB, Dubai, a Tanakh, and an X. Woo. Also got that final copy of Within the Moon I wanted. And on top of that, I got all my new Summer Smiles protected except for CL, because she's a level 90 unit and takes a lot of EXPs. And unfortunately, we're at a point in time where we're not getting a lot of free XP, and we're not in a half AP campaign. We were
not half AP dailies right now.
We were, but like I said, I spent listen, guys, I got Bargus to 120, from 100 in the span of our ninth. It was our ninth, right?
Yes,
yeah.
We're 9.
And our 9. So, I did a lot of work there. I forgot about, summer units. And I'll be real, I wasn't expecting to get all the summer servants. I was expecting to get, my goals were literally Aresh and fucking BB Dubai. I have all of them. This was not in the plans.
It never is.
Anyway, Robin's back. So, little low on that. I will be, though, happy to report, though, due to me spending more Saint Courts than I wanted to, due to a certain winged rat. I have been working hard on my rank ups. I was over 100. I'm down to 80 something now. I'm like, yeah, go me.
Nice.
I really need that quartz because I do want me a Cosra drop.
Quite a lot of it. That's let's see. If you actually work through it all, assuming, yeah, you have most.
Hang on, I'm putting
servants,
Robin in timeout again.
Get his ass. I haven't even tabbed back over. I just instinctively knew. I'm like, get him. But yeah, no, every 10 of those should be 10 Saint Courts basically, and then also every 10 of those is 20 Saint Courts because it's 2 SQ per rank up. So that's like a 10 spin every full 10 you do basically.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a pretty solid war chest.
No, I'm working on it.
I burned through all my rank ups previously. I need to get some more bond farming setups honestly, because I've got probably a tenor of interludes. I have servants who are fully leveled but not yet, maximum bond, because sometimes you get a lot of people in the backlog. But yes, some of this Lucky had technically written last week, but when I streamed this, I was temporarily blue color blind. I could not perceive the color blue, so we didn't talk about it. Didn't see it. Nothing happened. But that probably means it's time for me to pop in with mine. So if you did watch the news catch-up and pregame bit I did for stream last time, because Lucky's sleep schedule may have been thrown out of whack by this incident.
It was.
Yeah. I did, spending monthly tickets, get my Summer Tanakh on stream, which was nice. Her smile is protected. And also, for completely unrelated reasons, there's absolutely, I have no idea why I decided to do this, but may have grailed my Emmy at a 100. Might have done that.
Lucky just nods.
No, Emmy stonks are way up right now. Honestly, I've had that guy at MP5 forever. I should check what my fucking coins are like. Get him some real sauce. But yeah, that's my updates as well. We're catching up on all that. Yeah, I think I said last week that in my attempt to try and get 10 on the new banner, I'm pretty sure I have ended up with at least one of every CE from the summer batch. And the banners will last a while if you need to squeak a few more. But that means that at this time there are no entries in All the World's Evil, which means we can move on to Did You Finish Your Master Missions? Stop me if you've heard this one before. So to complete your Master Missions this week, you need to defeat 3 lawful servants, defeat 3 neutral servants, defeat 3 balanced servants, defeat 3 evil servants, defeat 20 enemies, and defeat 40 enemies. This seems eerily similar to what last week's was, but they are new because when I wrote them all down a couple days ago, I hadn't finished them all yet. So do the story and stuff. Check out the Bleached Earth, maybe? Actually, honestly, all of these are easily doable within just Fuyuki free quests also. I think I said also twice there, but that's just how easy it is.
It's just that easy.
But yes, super simple master missions for now to not distract you from your work on story. But all right. That takes us to the big one, Skelograms, which has never been more relevant, with a big spooky scary skeleton himself. But the big one, Fate Grand Order 11th Anniversary happening in JP, the event starting on the 2nd going until the 12th. We did not get any VC because it was very late for some of us, but we did have a little bit of a live tweet basically in the Discord, hanging out, watching along. Got to see Yoshki's final form, Yankee. Also, there's a great freeze frame of the stream somebody took where he scared the shit of, I think it was Rumi-san? Was it Rie? It was one of them. I forget who now, because it's been a week. But
oh, yeah, when they were looking for him and he just appears behind her.
Yeah, no. It's great. Talking about PresCon, but yeah. It was a pretty good panel. Honestly, not a lot of faffing around. I guess being on the second day of FGO Fez, really works out for that.
Yeah.
So, it's time for a big-ass list of updates. First, the panel itself started with another phenomenal anniversary movie, the 11th Anniversary Cosmos in Lost Belt animation. I can't really call it a CM or a commercial because it's 7 fucking minutes. Perhaps not as broadly moving as the 2023 Anniversary Memorial movie. I did, in fact, watch them back-to-back before recording this show, and while the 11th makes me feel feelings, the 2023 Memorial movie makes tears fall out of my eyeballs, which is saying a lot for me. But it's a fucking amazing piece of art, I cannot tell you. As usual, I like to say, every frame of painting type shit, like, there's so many quality moments in there. It's very focused on Emiya, the goat. I've seen a lot of people super analyzing this trailer frame by frame. I think the one that's most interesting is, other than just thematically it working out very well for a Cosmos in the Lost Belt themed movie, to have Emiya be there. Also, people were quick to point out that if you didn't know, Archer Emiya is the 11th servant in FGO. He is servant number 11. So it's a very interesting catch up there. But it's also not just about Emiya because, I don't know why they did it, but they were just like, do we want to insert some shots of Emiya in Lost Belt 4? Nah, let's just speedrun the entire Super Karna Arjuna Altar fight.
I'm glad they did.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy good. And then they decide to hurt you in the feelings because for Lost Belt 6 they show Ash and Grimnir, and there's not even any action in it. It's just all vibes.
No, the vibes of Grimnir, watching Ash walk away, footsteps glowing, then he lights the torch and it sees it's blood. She's walking a path of blood and you're just like, oh, and he does nothing. He just,
watches with his just eye glowing, and the light slowly goes down. And then the brass section swells. And then it cuts back to Emiya in Unlimited Blade Works, showing lots and lots of FGO weapons. If you are curious, somebody has, again, frame by frame analyzed this movie and picked out every single one of them that is identifiable. And I think they've all gone on the Type Moon wiki now. But the music switches, and it starts playing the classic Grand Battle theme, because the weapons that are appearing and the silhouettes that appear with Emiya are all of the Grand Duel candidates. Culminating in not a silhouette shot, but a versus shot where he gets to show down with the big bungus himself, Gil. And actually, I believe shoots Grand Archer Gil's Noble Phantasm at him. The only person who is not featured is Grand Caster, but the final shot is the wide open blue sky, and it is the souped up Artoria, looking great as ever.
Who apparently had her lines recorded, basically a long-ass fucking time ago. We have been getting a lot of interview details.
Yes, very, very good interview stuff. I will say, even before then, to kind of reroute that, I know that some people have been wondering, if all our lines are recorded, will we get, Lord Logres, the Super Artoria, early? That I do not think so, actually, now that I'm looking at it. Because they originally intended that to be kind of a cool tie-in to the final chapter. So I'm like, I don't think we'll get that early. Maybe we could, but it doesn't seem like it. There's a reason, I think, for why her mats requirements are pretty loosey-goosey, which we will talk about later. But yeah, the movie's great. I think the only part of it that I'm still not sure of is the first bit we see with Emiya, actually, because the intro is just like lines from FGO intercut with like static scenes, still looking very cool. I'll be very interested to see, because I'm sure we'll get that movie quote unquote in English. I'm curious if it'll be subtitled then, because it's not like there's like an English language vocal track to translate. So it's like very moody and relatively quiet, honestly.
Very little dialogue. Actually, I don't think there's any dialogue.
No, other than the ambiguous quotes in the opener pre-title card, there's no dialogue at all. It still says a lot without words, but yeah.
Oh, yes. No, so good.
But like that intro sequence, but the first bit you see with Emiya is him taking on some flying boats. My first impression is that was Atlantis, but a lot of people think that's Imaginary Scramble. I don't remember if there were literal boats in Imaginary Scramble in Void Space.
No, I'm pretty sure that was Atlantis, because you got to remember, like, despite their technological, they were still very, Grecian in there, and
yeah, I don't remember if they literally flew, but like it feels thematically appropriate for Odysseus's Dragnet.
Yeah,
and we the theme is the Lost Belts itself, so I feel like that would make the most sense. But they show a lot of other. Go ahead.
Also, I don't think there were boats in it. I don't think we fought boats in Imaginary Scramble. I thought we fought.
Yeah, that's what my thought is. Like, it looks like the Void Space, but I'm like, I don't know if we literally fought boats in Imaginary Scramble. Whereas these are clearly like Grecian boats with big glowing green sails. I'm pretty sure that's one of the maps we fight on. Which are, admittedly, they are on the water, but they might have thought it was cooler to have Emiya fucking flying through the sky shooting swords at people. But like, that's a very cool bit. But then we kind of rapidly flash through a couple of Lost Belts. And there's all these, like, they're so short, but they're so great. Emiya walking with Sutanai in 2.
Oh, no, there was dialogue. It was from all the children that we had to say goodbye to.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Emiya walking, like, I can't tell you how much it both emotionally pleases and pains me to see Emiya walking with Sutanai in LB2. That's a pretty good one. Emiya, destroying, the hero cryogenic chambers in LB3. Emiya with some Yaga children in Lost Belt 1.
I know it's might be a little biased, but Emiya in LB7 was.
No, that's the longest sequence is, and I'm so glad they decided to do it. But yeah, hey, did you ever want to watch Emiya Shiro fucking just huck a hrunting at Ort? Go balls to the wall against Ort?
In KP's hand. Ugh.
Yes. Also, that's the part that gets the closest to fucking my shit up, like making me cry actual big tears. Like, I feel very emotional about the theme swell, because you guys should know me by now. I'm very aware of like musical cues and leitmotifs, and like that's really impactful. That even though we are technically in like the post credits, the celebration of reaching 11 years is like, we wrap around from the end to the beginning with the original Grand Duel theme, which is also, like, contains notes of, like, the classic Fate Grand Order music. It's good. But, like, the realization as Ort charges up to fire a big blast, so Emiya's shooting from KP Alter's hand, and just as his, like, supercell wave comes in, she shields him with his other hand. But also, a wall of Golgana legs comes down.
Two walls, actually.
Yeah, actually, Ort blows through a couple like he did in the story. But yeah, so, like, you don't ever see Aresh, but it's Aresh Kigal, King Protea, and Emiya. So it's a Shiro, a Rin, and a Sakura. And it's just like, oh, I'm not okay. Then they fucking smash cut to Muramasa doing the, you gotta catch up with me pose from UBW to Emiya. That shit's sick, man. That's crazy. Crazy style. No,
I saw a sword in the limited blade works. You can't hide that shit from me.
No, it's in, and Castoria's Staff of Selection too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, it's good. It's real good. No, it's a beautiful, wonderful movie. Like I said, if you have not seen it, watch it. Watch it a bunch of times.
Yes.
I think it's already got like crazy high likes and views. Like I think I just watched it tonight. It's like 67K. It was going places. Also, like it's especially because so like there's this ticking clacking effect as like they show all the Lost Belt kings like vanishing as we carry on. Beautiful front facing shot of MASH and both protagonists as kind of like the climax of our journey. But the final shot is small Olga and then Madam President Olga. And I think it's very interesting that the last shot is this may be relevant to future discussions about Ordeal Call 3, but the last shot is her horn goes away. No, it's beautiful. It's crazy style. Anyway, that's just the first 7 minutes, gang. And they talked about it a little bit, kind of like amongst all the various crews, because the panel was pretty cool because we had Nobunaga, obviously, but they also had the VA for Hippolyta, who is also was female Fujimaru Ritsuka in Grand Carnival. We had VA as MASH, obviously, and the director's voice actress, Olga Mary. So, like, it was the whole Chaldea crew on stage.
Yeah. I was asking where Goldorf was.
But yes, so they did some breakdown, but then as we said, Yankee Yoshiki showed up and brought us 10 great campaigns and some other things. So to run those through in the order here. First of all, we started with GSSR stuff, which is pretty funky. But so, 2 separate Destiny Order summons. 1 for the 7 Knights lineup, 1 for all the extra lineup. This includes a Beast slot. Now, each of these is 30 paid Saint Courts, but you could always just pick one or the other based on your needs. I personally greatly appreciate the extra one. It's still a shot in the dark of 7 units, but, like, you get to fucking pick the full spread. That's pretty cool.
I'm going for it.
Yeah. Like, depending on where we're at, I may not need the 7 Knights Lucky Order or Destiny Order, but that extra one, spicy. It's a lot of slots.
Oh, excuse me.
We also, of course, get your Lucky Bag summon, 15 paid Saint Courts as usual. Banners are divided by the Chaldea Academy theme. Give Lucky a second.
Sorry.
Get hold on that.
Slightly dying.
How much you made me cough over here.
Sympathetic coughing.
But yes, 15 paid Saint Courts for one of the banners divided by the Chaldea Academy theme. You get a Bond Grail for doing it. At least an SR is guaranteed. I double-checked based on the wiki. I do not believe they're doing double Lucky Bag summons this time. I believe that's what they did last year. This instead, they've gone for, like we said, the 2 Destiny Order summons, plus a secret surprise we'll get into later. But yeah, so you've got your Lucky Bag summoning and all that stuff. Hold on, my nose is... Sorry, I turned my face away. I have to say, hold on, my nose is itchy. Blah. Okay,
Blah.
All right. Next, login bonuses. First of all, log in on the anniversary date for 30 Saint Courts. Straight up.
Woo.
Cumulative login bonuses for QP, Apples, Foes, Friend Points, 10 tickets, etc., etc., etc. Also, permanently, total login bonuses are boosted. So, every 50 days, you get some Saint Courts. It's super nice. Well, now, every 100 days will, in addition to that, net you 1 crystallized lore, except if it's 300 days. That instead nets you a Bond Grail. These are retroactive. So you will get an infusion of Bond Grails and lores based on how many days you've totally logged into FGO.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. This is one I could see them implementing early, but we'll see. Returning, I believe, from last year's anniversary season, but until September 1st, 9/1, you get 1 free story summon per day, basically for 30 days. And until 8/12, until the end of the anniversary campaign, you get 30 free FP summon rolls per day instead of 10, so, tripling it. Also, MP from rolls has been enhanced. Singles now get you 10 mana prisms. 10 rolls get you 100 mana prisms. Tickets don't get you any mana prisms still, but yeah, more mana prisms in the mana prism economy. Here's a big one that they technically announced ahead of time, but we didn't know the method they were going to do for it. But attack and HP can now be enhanced to 3,000.
Jesus.
We've increased the level. To do this, you will need the new 5-star foes. They are worth 100 a pop, if I'm reading the wiki correctly, so you only need 10 each to boost. And I do believe that they will implement a new version of the 4-star foes that'll be 100 each in the 2k plus range. But yeah, the new 5-star foes are 100 points a pop, so you don't need to nickel and dime yourself too much. How will you get these new foes? That's for later. Also, sorry, caught my throat for a second. Hold on, let me take some water. Also, speaking of additional amplifications, new Big Bond Grail.
Big Bond.
This will get you to Bond 16 only. When you reach that level, you will get 30 Saint Courts as well, and also 1 of each foe, an attack and an HP.
Okay.
You also keep the buff for Bond 15. So now you can basically have your cake and eat it too. If you feed somebody a Big Bond Grail, you can increase their bond to 16. It's a shitload of points, by the way. It took even the JP freaks quite a little bit to actually get there. But you also get to keep your buff. So basically, you can keep bonding up your favorite units, but you can also use them to enhance, everybody else's bond gains. And you get, as I said, 30 Saint Quartz and 1 foe out of each of them. Big stonking animation updates. We have new animations for Mozart, both Giles, Gilderes, Leonidas, Romulus, Mephisto, Eric Bloodaxe, Phantom, Jekyll, and Coup Alter. So most of these are launch units, but a couple of these guys are not. So surprising to see Coup Alter added to that setup as well. I do not think this is literally absolutely everybody who's got older school animations. I'm pretty. Did we get an animation update for regular Fergus, for instance?
I don't know, and I do think people have said that Paracelsus still has caster balls. I think.
Yeah, I think they're themed to his elements, but his animations are still what they were at launch, so they're pretty simple. But yeah, there are a few units who are still simplified, but it's still 8 animation updates. And gang, they are pretty good. I commented on this live, but it's not just that they gave Leonidas new bespoke animations. That guy has a whole new sprite. They completely redrew his sprite. He's fucking ripped. He was already pretty ripped. Now he's super ripped. I think he's twice as wide. So yeah, very, very interesting things going on here. Going off of that, rank up quest 19? Yeah, it's 19. I can read my Roman numerals. That'll be a separate bullet list later because there's a lot of them. But also speaking of your St. Quartz boosties, we have a shitload of permanent master mission updates, more rank ups, more free quests, more class scores, clearing grand duel quests. Now, brand new missions for HP and attack enhancement. So these are new permanent missions that give you St. Quartz based on raising X number of servants to each individual threshold, 1k, 2k, 3k, etc. I think it goes up to like 4 or 5 servants total. Similar to the missions that were added a while ago for Final Ascension and the like. There's also new story-related missions to clear, making sure you've cleared the final chapter past Chaldea, etc. There's also limited time missions for story clearance. So quite a lot of St. Quartz to be earned there. I think it was 300 something from that bullet point alone. As usual, the temporarily increased MPRP shop, including adding old CEs and CCs. And finally, listed last in the campaigns. I think it was technically earlier, but we're on ×4 suck chance for the anniversary and increased inventory all around. Another free 100 and everything, and another bunch of second archive space you can buy from the shop as well. Which obviously gets easier and easier to acquire as they do these big updates where, now every 10 spin you do with St. Quartz is, 100 MP, so that's basically 1 inventory expansion per roll.
Yeah.
So all in all, pretty good. Alrighty. Rank up quests 19. Always very fun to see these. So, we've got a big bushel of them. Starting from the top. Kyokoyo's Morph Dinosaur is now a 20-30% battery. Gives herself 20-30% crit up for 3 turns, 1 turn of extra big star absorb, and 5 to 15 stars. Phantom of the Opera finally got his Innocent Monster fixed. It is now as a full 5 to 15 stars per turn. It is a 20-30% battery, and gives the party 20-30% damage up versus Charm, and 10-20% crit damage for 3 turns. So, Charm bullying teams now exist. I think they technically existed already, but Phantom adds another budget unit to throw in there. We buffed Mephisto. His curse is buffed. It is now a 80 to 100% chance to charge down. Previously, it capped at 80%. Now, if you have the skill max, it's 100%. It is a 20-30% battery. Expect to hear that one a lot. And also gives the party 20-30% damage up versus curse for 3 turns. So now your curse teams have a budget member. All very interesting to see. Amadeus. Art buff. It was previously Jesus. 1 turn. Now it's 3 times 3 turns. Same 44% max. It's also 10-20% party NP up and a 22-40% debuff success for 3 turns for the whole party, the whole gang.
It's really good for more art support. Jesus, I'm actually concerned about my Tomomo now.
People are raising this up, and they did buff Merlin, so I'm sure they'll do something for either for probably Tomomo's Shapeshift as her last unbuffed skill, but also they could just double buff her. Actually, no, I don't think they've ever buffed her targeted art skill, but that's because it's good.
No, they did. Didn't they give it the heal? I'm pretty sure they did.
Actually, yeah, maybe it didn't start with the heal. I don't remember. Tomomo is a shockingly early unit for FGO. being at one point limited and then to become permanent later. You know, they previewed her at Halloween and then permanently released her at London. So, like, she still has some of the old game weirdness. But they could also just double buff her curse or witchcraft skill. So, yeah. That said, once again, FGO, her shapeshift, spread it to the whole defense up for the whole team and make it a 10 to 20% charge for team. Talma's NP is actually crazy good. It just kind of sucks that she can't battery herself. But yeah, no. Mozart is now the budget arts guy. Like, you thought about Paracelsus, but like 3/3 for the whole squad, and he has that skill that generates like 50 stars if it's maxed out. Whew. Honestly, I think with the way his NP works, I think he's actually technically more of like a budget Casgill with like star stuff and the NP up. But no, he's like Arts has some real good supporters. It's amazing. But we did get a buff for Ku Alter as well. His Batcon was buffed. It is now a 1x 5 turns stackable guts. It's also, say it with me now, a 20 to 30% battery. Also gives him 20 to 30% buster up and damage up versus lawful for 3 turns. Since he is a single target punchy boy, that's probably pretty good. Also very interesting that the one skill they buffed was his guts. They were like, 50% crit chance down and 20% attack down. That's okay. Protection from arrows, that's fine. 3/3 evades, that's okay. But yeah, now his guts stacks and he's got better steroids and batteries. Also, he was already great for a lot of budget comps. Anyway, we decided to buff Leonidas. His taunt got buffed. So, first of all, his taunt is now a charisma. It's 10 to 20% attack up for the party flat, 20 to 30% crit up for 3 turns as well. Also adds 10 to 20 stars. But he also gives a further buff where the party gets a sliding 0 to 30% extra attack up based on their HP percentage for 3 turns. So the closer you are to death, the bigger the attack buff is. If you're at 100%, it's 0. But so big stonks for the squad. They also decided to do double Giles Day. Both guilds have a buff. So Saber's Golden Rule is buffed. It is now 30 to 50% NP gain up. And also, lawful allies get the same for 3 turns. Good allies, good alignment allies, get 50 to 100% healing up for 3 turns. That's right. If you're good, this motherfucker doubles your healing for 3 turns. And if a servant with the star attribute or a Jean is on the field, Saber Gills gets a 80 to 100% battery. By the way, if you forgot how this guy's NP works, if it's NP level 5, which it will be because he's a 3-star unit, he gets plus 100% attack up for 2 turns. So basically, if you put him with a Jean or any servant with the star attribute, he can do that at will. He does get a demerit of defense down, but if you're hanging out with Jean, I don't think that fucking matters. But yeah, no. Very, very interesting buff. He's now like a little pocket supporter for lawful good
John
teams.
John,
yes. No, it's very, very fun. Also, his redone animations and like for Saint War Order and stuff is like crazy good.
No, I love how it has John's flag in it. Gives me joy.
But that does mean that Caster Giles also got a buff. His Terror has been super buffed. That was his extra skill, I think, by the way, because he didn't have a skill 3. It now curses every enemy for 500 curse damage for 5 turns. It also gives them 10 to 20% defense down for 5 turns. Also, he personally gets 20 to 30% extra damage versus curse, and gets a buff to inflict 500 curse damage on attack for 3 turns. The curse is also 3 turns. Oh yeah, and it's a 20 to 30% battery. So we gave him a trait damage, a way to apply the trait, more, and also 20% defense down for 5 turns. So Caster Giles also can now enter into curse teams. I think between him and Mephisto, we're approaching budget curse teams.
I was about to say, yeah.
Like, is there a welfare who's really good at curse? We got this shit locked up then. Does Minor Go do a lot of cursing? I guess we'll find out later this year. Funnily enough, the ruler buff did not go to Jean. I think they have actually managed to fix every part of her kit. It went to Himiko. So Himiko's Keto skill, that's her buster buff, now gives the whole party 20 to 30% battery, 24 stars exactly, and also gives the party 20 to 30% crit up for 3 turns. So, kind of evening out some of her buffs to be a little more party applicable. She was a great solo unit, but did have a few selfish buffs. Now this gives you some joy to spread around. As expected also, the assassin is for Jekyll Hyde. Jekyll and Hyde's monstrous strength has been buffed. It still only gives him 5 to 15% attack for 3 turns, but it gives the party 20 to 30% crit up for 3 turns as well. Also gives the whole party 50 to 100% star gen for 3 turns, and 1 time 3 turns overcharge. This is really good. Obviously, double star gen is a crazy buff for the whole squad, but the Jekyll's NP effect, overcharge effect, is a permanent buff to improve his buster damage when he becomes a berserker. So just giving himself a free overcharge level, pretty good. Pretty good shit for the kit. But also, as Hyde, the skill does extra stuff. So it still gives him an extra 35% attack up when maxed, for like a total of 50% up for 3 turns. But also gives him a 20-30% damage up versus the human attribute, a 1 time 3 turns guts for 1k to 2k, and also gives him a 3 times 3 turns buff removal resist for 50 to 100%. This is also very important because while Hyde does give himself permanent attack and buster buffs based on his NP, I believe they were technically removable. So now you can guarantee that enemies probably won't do that over the course of a battle. Yes, I know. Wright or Astolfo does not have a good monstrous strength. That said, I'm sure it will happen eventually, based on the ratio we're going here. Because I think we're working on a lot of innocent monsters, and yeah, it seems like a lot of monstrous strengths are being gotten as well. The Lancer, interestingly enough, is Vitra. Vitra has gotten her 3rd skill increased. It is now NP damage up for 3 times 5 turns. It was previously 1 time. Gives the whole party 20 to 30% damage up versus the Heaven attribute. Keep in mind, she already has a 20 to 30% damage up for the whole party for Divine trait, and is a 10 to 20% battery for the whole party. So obviously gives her even more damage amp and NP gain, but also that is a party-wide buff, so she can now act as kind of your off support for a Lancer-focused team, if you need to give juice up for like a big tough boss round, but also clear ads. And the Berserker is, of course, Eric Bloodaxe. In case you haven't noticed a theme, chat. Eric Bloodaxe has our only NP upgrade so far. We'll see if the last one sticks. But yes, his overcharge effect has been increased. It is now both attack and crit up for 3 turns, procs first. He also gives himself plus 100% star gen for 3 turns first on his AoE Buster NP. So basically, he will increase his attack, he will increase his crit damage for follow-up, and he will generate a shitload of stars. Also the usual, NP buff of increasing its damage multipliers as well. Very good for a budget Berserker. He does still have the demerit where he loses HP, but he's getting in there. And our remaining, as of this writing, probably be out by the time the next show is out, but we have a 5-star Saber and a 3-star Lancer. It will be Romulus. The theme I've been alluding to, chat, is that I think everybody who was in the list of animation updates got a buff. Let's see, Mozart, Giles, Leonidas, Mephisto, Eric Bloodaxe, Phantom, Jekyll, Kualter. Yeah, so Romulus is literally the only guy who hasn't gotten a buff in this equation, and it's a 3-star Lancer, so it's going to be Romulus. I'm not sure exactly what he can use to be buffed, but I'm interested to see what they go for, because that's something I think we've mentioned on the show long ago, because Romulus is a very early unit in FGO, technically a launch unit, since you can get him out of Septum Chapter, which is available from the start. But the team has always talked about how they wanted Romulus and his spear to kind of be a parallel to Lancer Artoria. Hers is the Spear of Endings, his is the Spear of Beginnings. So they've they said in very early Servant interviews that they kind of wish they'd made him like a story-locked 4-star instead of a 3-star. So I'll be very curious if the scale of buff we get out of this is similar. I'm reasonably certain this is why he comes back later as Romulus Quirinus. They were like, our boy needs a glow up. But that is your rank up quest so far. I have literally no idea who the 5-star Saber could be. That feels like it could be anybody.
Penny Enma.
That'd probably be a good matchup. I don't know. Did she just get a buff for the rerun? I don't actually remember. They could have saved it. I don't know. I mean, yes, no. They've somebody in our Patreon chat is like, Ku is basically a 4-star pretending to be a 3-star. Yes, there's some stuff you could do. That's another thing also that's commonly talked about. Like Saber Lancelot is like a pocket 5-star with the amount of damage crank he could do back in the day. God knows what you can do with that man, now with the way arts teams are. But, like, there are definitely servants who punch out of their weight class even without grails, so, yeah, we'll see. Also, Robin said in chat, Saber Stolfo. Put a pin in that one, because that's not the craziest thing we've said all day. So first of all, though, we joked about it a little earlier, I think, but our anniversary servant is Hassan Isaba Azrael, SSR Assassin. Some have called him Hassan or Old Man Lily. I think of him a lot as Peeled Gramps, at least in that third ascension. But he also has a trial quest. We will be doing new Servant Deets later. But there are also banners for Saber Astolfo, Bryn, Summer Kiara, Iskander, Ash, Okitan, and Ku-Alter. So, you get your usual splash of random raid-ups. But, yeah, I think the Ku-Alter one's pretty neat, but there's a few that are good for. But yes, no, we do... It was, in fact, often thought of Azrael, who I wasn't sure about, but yes, does seem to be... at least his first ascension is just the Old Man of the Mountain before he became the Old Man of the Mountain. Back when he was just, like, an Assassin's Creed guy. Mm-hmm. With the hood up, he looks very Assassin's Creed. The second ascension is kind of him, in his spooky Angel of Death phase a little bit. And then, the third one is just like, he is definitely the Angel of Death. This is the guy who could eat a Bel Lamu. So, yeah, we'll talk more about that later. But, yeah, honestly, pretty cool. I do like shiny new Gramps. I believe, Lucky, you and I both said this at the time. This doesn't feel like a banner that we're going to go crazy for, especially given the shit they have announced for summer.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're punching me in the summer. Oh,
look at even... this is not a spoiler at all, but it gets worse. There's a fucking line in part 2 of Ordeal Call 3 where Passion Lip says something like, "Oh, King Proteus is a great swimmer," and I'm just like, "You son of a bitch! What are you doing? What are you doing? Shooting your shot?"
Nah, they've shown me. They've only shown me one banner, and it's like, shit, this is only banner 1 I already want. I'm already fearing for my wallet.
Oh, it's crazy good, yeah. And we don't know what the SRs are yet either.
No, it's all SSRs so far. I'm just like, no! Wait, no!
Yeah, it's 3 banners.
Yeah, no, it is 3 SSRs.
It's gonna be 3 SSR banners, 3 separate raid-ups, and Habetrot is our welfare.
Big hat, though.
Yes. Also, interestingly enough, they did talk about this in interviews. I think they've talked a little bit about what the theme of this summer will be. It is apparently supposed to just be kaiju battle. So there was apparently some discussions that previously, also, keep your eyes peeled for, like, I don't know if it'll be one of the 4 stars maybe, or if it'll be like a costume, but keep your eyes peeled for Liz. Because Elizabeth Bathory has always been a mecha reference, like a kaiju reference. Even down to, like, obviously when they introduced Mecha Ellie. But apparently they were considering doing this as a summer theme in previous years to do, big kaiju showdown. But Nasu was kind of concerned about the tone whiplash, so they decided to stick to more traditional means. But now that we're in the aftertime, we can cut loose a little bit, so we get to do some funny stuff. So I'm very interested to see how all this shakes out. But also, this does mean that our summer fairy nights are now complete.
Yes, good.
Also, because Chad in our Discord brought this up a little earlier, also a very important point. I do actually hope that they do give a new summer for MASH as well, because somebody pointed out, if you go Paladin MASH, you will not be able to, or rather, you won't be able to use her summer skins with those skills, because MASH is weird and her skills are bound to certain costumes. So you would not, if you used her swimsuit, you would not be able to use her updated skill set and NP and stuff. So that seems like a cool costume memento. But yes, very, very interesting summers coming up. Great collection of lads. Bedivere is also being checked off the list as well, finally. So, nice. But yeah, more details on Hassan in a second. And Kano Yoshiki did have one more thing for us as well, based on the Azrael. Azrael brought us presents, which is Beast Order Summon. Don't want to take a chance on Destiny Order? For a mere 30 paid Saint Quartz. So yes, technically we have a third GSSR type here. But we can give you one 10+1 pool that guarantees one of the 3 SSR beasts. No other 5 stars can be rolled, period.
I'm rolling for it. I'm going in.
Yeah, it's crazy good. All possible limited and story locked 4 and 3 stars are in the pool. So like, if you get a 3 or 4 star, it could be literally anybody, including limited and locked units. But if you roll a 5-star on the percentage based, it can only be one of the 3 beast units. Madam President, Space Aresh, Draco. So, like, very interesting selection. But yes, that's a little surprising given, again, I feel like this is, you know, the Lasengo crew and just kind of the moment taking Nasu. They're talking him down from the ledge. Like,
I mean, from what I heard from interviews, there was a lot of talking him away from the ledge.
Yeah.
On various things.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But we have a couple more updates to talk about. First, a new login reminder feature on your notifications page in the FGO app. They have a new slider for login reminder, which you can set at several time periods and at several different hours before reset. This is a feature that does not appear to be tied to any aftertime stuff. I really hope we get this one early.
What's up?
I am usually pretty good about remembering my logins and stuff, gang, but even I sometimes need to think about it and, you know, listen to other people. It would be very cool.
Well, that's kind of where I want to go. So, Alex,
what's the word? Get reminders. Okay, but we're back.
But yes, I am ready to resume.
Yes, we're going. Like you stepped away for a second while we were discussing the login reminder feature.
Yes, no, I'm gonna love this. Lucky breaks his streak so often. Despite being a day 1 FGO player, I just hit 3,100 days. I think that's like 200 days behind.
Yeah? Something like that. I think we got 330 recently. Let's see. What's my total? 3275. Now, I still break my streak a little bit. My current total streak is 59. So, like, I break it here and there. But, yeah,
Lucky always gets broken because it's not that he doesn't log in, it's that, like, every day, it's that he doesn't log in at the specific times to register that I'm in the game. Like, my most recent login streak wasn't because I wasn't in the app, but because I was in the story mode reading, and that doesn't update your, hey, I'm in the game. So I spent 24 hours in there, came out of it to go do some rank ups, and it's like, you broke your streak. I'm like, son of a bitch!
Yeah, it's an oddball one. Also, no, not a year of there's 50, let's see, it's 52 weeks in a year and 365 days, so that's not quite right. If he's like 200-ish behind. That's like still, I wouldn't call 200 days almost a year, depending.
It's almost, I would say it's getting to a year.
It's getting closer. It's like it is,
yeah,
not quite 2/3, but yeah. But yes, no. This is a great feature. I hope they do manage to implement it early because this doesn't seem to be connected to any of the aftertime stuff. And you get to pick like when it reminds you. And I know FGO has a notification feature. Its notifications are fucking old school. They're like, hey, is your AP full? And notification that will probably never happen again is your BP full. Remember we have it BP for raids? I think it's been literally 7 or 8 years.
I mean, I think the only other notifications you get sometimes is server banners. I still laugh about the BB one. It's like, not that BB.
That was pretty funny. No, yeah, I get the just regular FGO update notifs. They're nice. There are notifs you can get on like certain event mechanics, but those you can turn on in the event, so they're a separate one. So like FGO is a pretty notification light game, so this is a pretty good setting for them to add.
Oh wait, no.
Also, they are, I believe, currently until the 12th running a social media campaign, maybe a little sooner, for 100 Saint Courts for a retweet campaign. I did see several people in English talking about helping out our JP bros. I think I retweeted the tweet myself.
Mm.
They've come out of the woodwork to help us hit a couple of social media schemes. I'm okay with that. We should return the favor. You know, keep it all cycling. I do believe that this means yes, Predator GIF. I do believe that this means that the total for this anniversary, if you're getting all the like logins, new missions, the bonuses and stuff in the social media campaign, it's like 700 Saint Courts. I know some people were not doing the math right in the event and felt a little disappointed. It's still a shitload of Saint Courts. They just, as usual, make you work for it a little bit. It is not like the 1,000 we got at 10th, but I don't think we're going to see something like that again unless we hit at 20th, which also, I actually don't think FGO will go that long.
No, we're talking about Aftertime as, you know, the one final push, the extra story, the fan disc, as Nasu has put.
Yes. Like, there's... Now, in that same interview, he's like, this last year, well, something like that, So I don't know if it will literally be a year like Epic of Remnant, but
yeah, I'm expecting 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, it's not going to be going on forever, and then there's going to be some serious thought. Like, they actually did go out of the in a interview with Kano Yoshiki, they went out of their way to talk about how, like, he is now just the development director. He is no longer the Part 2 director. They actually thought about calling it Part 3 or the Part 3 director, but they did not want to give the fans the impression that they're going to make this next bit go on for 8 more years,
Mm-hmm.
After how long it took to clear Part 2, technically. So, like, yeah, I think FGO will be around for a while still. Probably at least another, I'm guessing at least to a 12. And depending on what the downslope, like, actually looks like, maybe the app will be open a little longer. But the spoilers for 2 bullet points down. There's actually, we got some different endgame kinds to talk about that's pretty cool, but we're not getting that early. But, like, Nasu and the rest of the Type Moon guys originally had some pretty strict plans for the end of the final chapter of Part 2.
He was quite serious about pull the servers, it turns out.
Yeah, I've been making that joke for years. The Madmen did actually want to do it, but cooler heads did prevail, and Lasengo really talked him out of it. The original plan was for it to just like, when the raids were complete and you did the final story, you would be kicked out, unable to log in, and EOS would be like New Year's Day. Like, it was going to be over. But that would have been a little abrupt for the consumer base. And also, Nasu straight up said that he and the other writers were blown away by the response. As is usual, so I don't know why they were surprised, but the endgame chapter, the final chapter, involves, worldwide global raids. Apparently people, the JP players, slammed that shit so fast, like, broke all expectations, that was one of the several things that convinced Nasu to be like, okay, alright, actually, people really care about this. This is not just, we're ending it to end it. Like, we're gonna, the future is actually uncertain, which is why the final splash screen is a wide open blue sky. Like, there's a lot of really cool stuff put into that. But we'll yap a little bit more about a couple of those points in a second. But the actual endgame content I was talking about, we have the Azrael Mausoleum. So there's a new thing to do, kind of like, adding Bleached Earth and other dailies and stuff. Basically, Gramps has found the milk. He's back. And he's willing to sell it to you. Basically the way this works is now every month there's going to be a rotating challenge quest. I think the current one is Merlin and Lancer Artoria, with some break bars and some mechanics and shit. Clearing the quest itself gets you a lore, and also some drops, but you also have a series of missions or challenges to complete in this certain fight, such as dealing so much critical damage, avoiding certain debuffs, using certain units, etc. Clearing these will get you Pure Prisms, Teapots, and new Azure Flames. So, in the exchange, you can spend Azure Flames on the new Big Bond Grails or on the 5-star foes. I don't know how much of the monthly inventory is, but you send them up. But this feature, this storefront, also includes the new Barter Exchange, which basically, every day, every FGO day, 6 mats, 2 of each rarity, will be selected. You can exchange them 1-to-1 with other mats up to 5 times each. So it's not a permanent default exchange, but encourages you to basically log in, check the stock, slowly balance out your mats. And I wouldn't be shocked if maybe they didn't, like, adjust that up a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe expand that to like a tenner, maybe. But I get that they're introducing a new economy that they don't want to like blow wide open. But yeah, we do now have event exchange, and it is mostly like every of the different elements. Like, I don't think we've seen all of them yet, but like they showed the list of like what possible mats they are. So it's like, this includes skill gems, statues, but also all kinds of the various, normal ascension mats. So yeah, basically, if your day comes up, you can, throw 5 of one mat into a new mat if you need them and bounce them out. Also, I didn't mention this earlier, but I will now. Some of the limited time master missions, I believe, include a couple of the Pure Prism inventory refresh tickets.
Oh,
there's at least 2 of those in the missions. There may be more. I forgot to actually count them, but yeah. So like, the monthly missions of Azrael Mausoleum will give you more prisms, and they're giving you at least a couple of extra ways to refresh the inventory if you've cleared out so much of a mat. So they're working on the pure prism economy, which I like. Also giving you an additional, like, no matter what, events and stuff they've got going on, giving you another source of teapots is good. And actually, let me go ahead and check for chat, because somebody did ask earlier, like, how many 5-star foes we can get at. Let me actually check Azrael Mausoleum and see if it lists what the exchange rate is like. Because obviously these are not going to be like nothing burger quests. This is meant to be, quote unquote endgame. It doesn't seem like super, super hard. It's just that, basically, apropos of nothing, there's basically a non-event related challenge quest every month. But it's repeatable, and there are, bonus missions. Like, for instance, the one they've got up now, like, the missions are like, do, like, X amount of critical damage, like, capping at, like, 1 million total. I think. Clear it with a king servant, etc. This is called, by the way, Hellish Ordeal is the translation. Let's see. Yeah, have one king in the starting lineup. Form at least one buster chain, then clear the quest. Form 2 buster chains. Noble Phantasm at least 5 times, then clear the quest. Get 40 or more stars in 1 turn, clear the quest. Sorry, that's funny. Merlin's title in this quest is Captured Young Man. It's the current one for August is, I forgot to say, it's actually Lancer Altar. It's King of the Storm. So
I'm praying that means one of those silhouettes is a Lancer Altar. That'd be
pretty cool. Help me out, man. But it says to either make the captured young man become either skill sealed or unable to act at least 3 times, then clear the quest. So stun or silence Merlin 3 times. Very funny. So like they've got some options in here, but let's see. Barter exchange. Let's see. There's the official announcement. It refreshes. So the overview of the exchange is it's 50 Azure Flames. It doesn't look like the announcement actually lists how many you get, but you can use them to buy big bond grails, 5-star foes, 4-star foes, and I think also small bond grails and crystallized lores. And the honestly, very good to wombo combo with the login. Chat's also joking about level 200. I'm glad they didn't do that. I know that new foes can be, these new rainbow foes are probably going to be a little annoying in their own right.
Yeah, it's the grind.
But like, I'm glad we decided to increase our servant's power level that way rather than like level 130 or 150 or something.
I'm still hoping they have the fucking 120 requirements. It drives me mad.
It's a lot of fucking XP. Actually, that reminds me though. This is very funny. One of the ways you can collect bonus Saint Quartz as well for some of these missions is we literally have Saint Quartz hands now.
What?
That's a guy they've coded. It's a hand holding up a Saint Quartz.
Oh.
And clearing the mission drops 1 Saint Quartz for each guy you killed. So it's like one of the ways you can get the rewards for the anniversary.
Oh, okay.
It's very cute. Yes, you can quote unquote.
I was wondering what that Saint Quartz hand plush was at the end of stream.
Yeah. That's a little thing they've. That's a little quest they brought in to deliver you some of the bonuses. You got to beat up the hands, steal their quartz. It's very, very funny looking. But yeah, so that's our new Azrael Mausoleum. You've got the Hellish Ordeal and the Angelic Exchange. And as usual, there is a great wealth of news we've discussed from Famitsu interviews with Nasu, Takeuchi, and Kano. A lot of great info in these. You can track down threads for them. Be worried about splash damage spoilers?
Yeah, that's the main reason why I haven't gone into them.
I've not read them cover to cover, but I've seen a few things. There are some very interesting things in there. One thing I really liked is the way you already mentioned one of the analogies they used. Nasu and Takeuchi described the Aftertime section as the fan disc. The going back to Type Moon's roots as that's Kagetsu Toya and the original Hollow Ataraxia were both fan discs.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, a celebration for the fans. You bought the visual novel so much, we release a little bonus disc expansion. Is it canon? Yeah. But it's, there to celebrate for everybody. So this is meant to be, the extra time because of everybody's, generous support over the years and in the finale. But another analogy I really like that Nasu used is that, the final chapter of part 2 was the peak. We are now on the gentle slope down the mountain. Rather than an abrupt ending, we actually are getting a denouement. We're getting a rest period, which is nice. And the way they phrased it is that depending on how things work out, there may or may not be fireworks at the end, but it might just be kind of like our gentle slope down. So we'll see what they got going on. One of the, I think personally, most interesting things I caught was an implication from Nasu kind of talking about foreigners' roles in the story. Basically, they mentally break up foreigners into either people who are influenced by the outer gods or into Servantverse characters.
Yep.
I think there's technically a little bit of wiggle room in there, but mostly that's generally how it works.
Since when does Nasu?
That in the main story, that's kind of the two we've seen for story events. It's either like Double XA appearing in Ordeal Call 3 or, stuff like that. Which is why there was not apparently a heavy emphasis on them in the sections leading up to Final Chapter and stuff. But also, based on that information, that kind of heavily implies that it was not a foreigner Ordeal Call that was the chapter they didn't get around to. So that piques my interest. Is that kind of they early, settle on this so that they did not need this extra writing for foreigners? I saw somebody crack a joke about Medio's pace of writing, since a lot of foreigner stuff is him. But also, does that mean that Nasu was thinking of a pretender Ordeal Call? That's a little spooky.
I do think that we said that we can understand why there wouldn't be an foreigner Ordeal Call because they are literally outside the human order.
Yeah. It's weird, right? Pretenders is I think we gave that one a pass because it's we know how pretenders work. We got introduced to, Oberon in main story, but we met a lot of extra classes in main story, and it's actually, no. Do we know what pretenders' deal is? Because the other alternative is that there was going to be a beast Ordeal Call. That's also a little scary.
Honestly, I think I would have preferred that. I would love the foundation of humanity to go, especially after, after all this to go, all right, master, what the fuck are you doing? Why are there beasts in your house?
I know, right? It's so, I do not know if that will come up as a aftertime story or another event or something we're going to work through, but yeah, there's some very interesting implications, I think, of that. Also, first of all, those of you who are curious, I believe this was in the Yoshiki interview, but when they were talking about not calling it Part 3, they did, I believe, eventually settle on, aftertime as kind of the period of this. They did think about calling it Part 3. They also thought about calling it a saga of 3 goddesses. So I'm pretty sure we're locked in. I don't know if they'll all be Pochi designs. I kind of hope they are, but I think we're locked in for all 3 of the sisters.
I pray.
I think that's going to be a triplicate. Also, that is funny legendary that there were no actual Ordeal Call classes in there, but that also works because technically that's been true the whole time. Hey, did you know that Tomo Cat's an alter ego? She's literally been an alter ego the entire time.
Yeah.
She's
literally just the divided aspect of Tomomo.
Yeah, but she is a berserker, and I think it was important for discussing what an alter ego is to let us know that, alter egos are not necessarily purely class containers. They can be, because that's kind of how the Sakura 5 work, but also they can just be other classes if it matters. So it's always been, I think, a really interesting one. That story was much more about, the psychology of what does it mean to be an altered ego and a spin-off. And how is it different than being an alter? And I'll admit, we talked about it. There's some parts of Ordeal Call 1 that are a little weird. It does make me wonder if some people play FGO to just kind of, and just kind of don't ask questions, and they're just yeah, alter ego, whatever.
I mean, I'm gonna be real. I kind of play that way. Like I said, lucky. I won't say that I'm a dumb, but I do not necessarily understand a lot of layers to things.
You don't,
and so
I tried this before. You read for, how do you phrase it? You read for context, not line by line reading.
Yeah, comprehension, not I read for comprehension, not retention.
Yeah,
because I basically I look at something, I get the gist of it, and I contextualize that in my head, so I can recall a general vibe very well. But most often, the finer details of things escape me. I have to, go back and reread something several times before I can, start getting the layer of it. And I go, oh, okay, that's what they meant. Or someone online says, hey, did you know fucking, Oberon was talking about Castoria at the end the entire fucking time? And I'm just oh, now that you say that, that does seem right. Interesting.
Yes, implying that Castoria or Artoria was the Titania he meant in that bit.
Yeah. So
that one is also like I don't remember exactly what I thought at the time, but yeah, sure, that's
like it doesn't sound wrong.
That kind of tracks, but yeah, sure. It's just one of those things where I think Nasu did make it explicit, and that is actually something I do want to say to people is like never give your audience too much credit about understanding like subtext and impressions and stuff, because guess what? That shit is subjective. That's what death of the author is. You know, like the concept of death of the author is not, you know, once the work is published, you can do whatever you want with it. It's more that like, say the author keeled over tomorrow and could no longer tell you what they meant by a story. This means that your interpretation of the text is just as valid as theirs. But that also doesn't mean that like they don't have intent when they write subtext. So I feel like I know that our conclusions about the alter ego chapter was kind of like, yeah, no, duh, I'm not using alter egos without thinking about it. I feel pretty good connections to most units I summon because of the way FGO works. But I could totally see some people being like, yes, King Proteus, good for farming. She's an alter ego who has a big attack stat. Yes. Meanwhile, I'm out here all about my giant daughter.
I love her so much.
I know the
more
scores.
of her in part 2.
I know the zings.
Also, I have to ask, why is she serving beer in her summer outfit? Is she old enough for that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna roll with the ratings board in America. But that's because we are slightly weird about beer. It's a weird Protestant thing. But yeah, no, I'm very interested to see what the rest of her themes are going on there. But yeah, like I never took my alter egos for granted because like, no, I'm pretty close with most of them. And especially for the Sakura 5, I did a lot of reading to understand how that worked because, you know, we still don't have CCC over here. Honestly, I think infantile regression is just, like, technically it's a buzzword, because it's even explained in this story that she just resets her size. Like, she retains her character growth over time as the Chaldean servant, so, I don't know. The BB also has some stuff to say about how servants can't become more or less than they were when they're summoned, so, rules are weird. Anyway, Ordeal Call 2 was, like, not just about Avengers as a concept, but was also about revenge as a concept. Like, that one was very emotional and intimate in a lot of ways.
Well, you can't spell Avenger without venge.
Yeah. So like that one I think worked as like a oddly, you know, super personal like story. Literally in our dreams, our subconscious. As people have noted, Ordeal Call 3 is the first time we have actually been race shifted somewhere. So like It's a story that is different on a lot of levels, but I do think it will actually, hopefully at the end, explain what the fuck a moon cancer is. It's a question that people have been getting wrong for years.
No, I'm excited for it. Like I said, I'm only doing part 1, but I'm starting to notice some things about it. Like, I have some theories, but I gotta wait to actually find out if they're right.
Yeah, I'm still, like, honestly, part 2 does not do a lot to, I mean, there's good exposition on a couple of details, but it still leaves off with like the fundamental mysteries unsolved, and that's honestly that's why I like it. Like it is explicitly a mystery story, but also we're trying to save the world from like 9 different things, of course, and almost killing ourselves a couple of times. But yeah, I like yes, most moon cancers have to do with kind of like a like branching of that. Actually, no, Kiara's not a poser. Kiara is a thief. Kiara absolutely could qualify for the Moon Cancer class. It's because the true ending of CCC is, instead of BB being the final boss, Kiara beats her up and steals her thunder. Slurps her up. So, like, yeah, no. Also, by the way, hey, if you don't know why BB's always talking about being the final boss and also why it's kind of a joke, it's, like, that's why. The real ending of CCC is she's not actually the final boss. Anyway, that's food for thought, more for later. But yes, so I'm very interested to see what that means for like what exactly the idea is, because like I don't know nothing about what the fuck past Chaldea's vibes are like as a story chapter, other than like getting a little fucky with us. Like, I guess that means we should keep our eyes peeled for Verthandi as the present and then Skald as the future. But yeah, no, lots of cool stuff in the interviews overall. like I said, I think a lot of what Kano-san said was very interesting. One of those that was really interesting was also as well. So Lucky mentioned this earlier. Lord Logres's like lines and ideas were recorded like years and years and years ago because the budget was tighter, so they tried to compress a lot of stuff. They've always had basically Super Artoria in mind. They originally called this version Artoria Avalon, but then they ended up using that for Caster Artoria's juiced up form.
Juice!
So they changed it to Lord Logres. Nasu, by the way, also explained all 3 ascensions, which are pretty cool. The first ascension is basically King Arthur if, or Artoria if she never had any hardship. The kind of like King of Fairyland, Lord Logres. Ascension 2 is if Artoria was allowed to rule openly as a queen. So it's Artoria, but a little more feminine. And then Ascension 3 is just, I think Nasu or Takeuchi phrased it as, what if normal Artoria Pendragon just got a little bit cooler and stronger? Like, what if she ascended to a new plane? So, yeah. And I believe the idea was for her to, like, hit a new peak during the final chapter and like, possibly be a free unit distribution originally. But when Lasengel talked Nasu out of, again, white screening end of service, right away, locking everybody out of the game for until it shut down. He did, in fact, as I joked, want to, blow up the servers. They decided to make her the New Year's unit. This is why I do not think we are getting Lord Logres early. Because I think that, like, to Lasengel and to Type Moon, she's kind of tied up in the finale. But, like, they decided to do that. But that meant that there was a very funny story about how the interviewer asked Kano-san about, like, oh yeah, there were sightings of you, like, out and about in, like, Tokyo Station on, like, Christmas Day or something. And he's like, well, yeah, actually, because we had to do Lord Logres implementation, I decided to come into the office, and then, I happened to stop by while they were running those, promos for the final chapter. Which is just, like, neat. Like, cool little bits of moments going on. But yes, you can track down those interviews, but as we said, be careful of final bits spoilers. So, we'll keep that one open-ended. But yeah, there's a few of them going around. To round out our JP news, also, summer stream soon. That's the 12th.
Soon, Tien.
Yes. So, it will occur on the 12th. Also, by the way, daily reset in FGO. Everybody log in. But yeah, I believe we are on track to get more details about the event, to see the banner schedules, and to see who the 4 stars are. Though, as usual, several people have already made some very good guesses. I'm a little surprised, but not too surprised, because I think she seemed popular, but one of them, people are saying, looks a lot like Bishone.
Yeah.
And I've heard some other good guesses about some other stuff going on there. Some people thinking, like maybe a Kyokoyo. Not Kyokoyo. Actually, maybe Kyokoyo, but no, Kichihogan. Some people are guessing Summer Shuten.
Oh, that'd be a surprise.
Like, there's a few different weird things. And then there's that one silhouette that's just all over the fucking place. Like, it has chicken feet, but they're not at the feet. That one I'm just like, man, I don't know. But we'll know all that and more when we actually get the streamage. To actually give you a little bit of EN news. The Archetype Inception Pickup 2 started with the release of Part 2 on 8/4, going until the 17th. We got some banners. You got a Coin of Dark and Edison banner, an Astolfo banner, a Jinako banner, and a KP Lip banner. So if you want to catch up on all your fun, fancy friends from the story, we've got a few of them. You can expect to probably see some more on the 12th as well. Also, new login bonus for apples and stuff, and story clearance missions for the Part 2 drop. Assume a similar one for the Part 3 drop. And so that's the end of Skelograms at almost an hour and a half.
Big talk.
Anniversary news is always real bigly.
Bigly. So, with that, we're going to switch on over to this week's Let's Talk FGO Mailbag, the segment where we read what you have to say and comment accordingly. This week, we have seven lovely comments, and we will get through them all. Starting at the top with Monster Girl Aficionado, who says, Dear Lucky and Omega, no questions this week, just sending good vibes, wah 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 wah, and wishing you well. Keep up the great work. P.S. Welcome back, Lucky. I hope you're doing well. P.P.S. The PvP deadline approaches. I Honestly, I can't say I'm doing well. I'm doing okay. I am here. I am median. My sleep schedule's still a bit fucked. I'm under various amounts of small stress here and there. But, I keep on living. Also, yes, the PvP grind should continue. I did put that on pause because with the drop of the new patch, there was a bunch of new content to come out. Lucky has done a lot of Northhorn and the Cold Crescent. Like I said, I have unlocked I've done my Dawn Trail World Tour. I have punched many, many critical engagements. I've almost made it to knowledge level 40.
Nice. I need to get back to work.
And then I can try.
Unfortunately, my not necessarily my sleep schedule, but my energy levels have been pretty fucked this week.
Been fucked.
Like I get like yawny and sleepy at like 11 or midnight. So I've been working on that. I feel pretty like I've still had some yawning, but I think that just might just be the oxygen because my lungs still feel a little beat up.
I might be on a timer. I just had a big ass burrito.
Well, all the more reason to work through the mailbag.
I love big ass burrito.
Sorry, you said that with the same tone as we love casting spells.
I did. Oh, sorry. But yes, that is that. We move on to the next one, which comes from breaking news. Neurosama has landed in Moon Dubai to do a stream on New Humans. Meanwhile, the city is currently on fire after Evil launched nukes, and Vidal is vibing. No question, just vibes. They just wanted to do a headline. Neat. I don't really follow VTubers. I think they're neat and they're cool, and I love some of the gimmicks they have. And some of the technology they use. I've seen some crazy-ass stuff done with VTubing setups and chat overlays and stuff. But it's something, not something I really follow.
I've talked about this. I totally get it. Like, there are so many VTubers who, whether it's like their avatar or just their personality or whatever, who are like interesting. I could not watch people live as much as out there. Like, that's too many hours a day. I can catch a couple of VODs, but like, that's a lot of time to watch stream VODs. And I know you don't like to sit and watch like 4-hour videos all at once kind of a thing either. So like,
no,
I get it.
No, and this is like one of the things I've been thinking about. I think people are getting a little too hung up on parasocial relationships. God, it reminds me, in another Discord I was in, someone was being trying to be funny and was talking about like they were talking about Final Fantasy VII and about the original one. And it's all like, yeah, Eris was the most elusive one. I'm glad Sephiroth got rid of her. He was trying to say it in a joking manner, but I just saw that and I was all like, I don't know who this was directed as, but you have earned my ire and disdain. And the guy was like, no, it was just a joke, man. It was me being funny. Man, he tried to take it back like several times. I just did not. And a lot of people were like, why are you so serious? I'm like, he said something. I did not like it. Am I not allowed to do that? He's like, why are you so serious? And I'm just like,
people are forgetting the ancient text. It's just a troll, bro. It's just a prank, bro. Like, that's been an asshole thing for literally decades. Like, don't do that. Don't say something and try and take backsies it.
No, but like, I feel like people are like becoming a little too, are because so many people spend so much time online. I'm starting to feel that people are starting to lose empathy and lose empathy for others in strange ways. It's one of the things I've been wrestling. It's like, I've been thinking about it. It's like, they say, playing a violent game doesn't make you violent, but I definitely think that playing a violent game probably, makes you more desensitized to violence. And I think that's probably bad. You probably should not be, desensitized to the pain and suffering, that is inflicted upon you and others. That's probably bad. But unfortunately, I have not had a particularly healthy outlet to say these things. Because it's not just at that level. There's actually several levels to this, but I do not feel comfortable about talking on a public podcast, nor sharing it with people in our Discord, because it is a matter and subject of sensitivity. Thank you, Robin, for turning that into a joke. If anything else, I at least know that Robin got my back to fucking stab me with it. To stab me in it.
With a violin.
But yes, like, I do think that VTubering is cool. I think it is fun, but I do think that the general populace has spent way too much time getting invested into it. It is, and so I am very leery. It is
yet another thing I think that's been really ballooned up by the COVID boom, and like, I don't know if it's going to be like a crash per se, but
I don't think it's going to be a crash, but I think it'll be over. It's already overinflated.
Yeah, and I think you've definitely seen like some big explosions in people trying to businessize it or monetize it with like agencies and the like. Several of those have crashed and burned. Several like support companies making like merchant stuff have found out that it's tougher than it looks to do some of this shit. Like I kind of think that just like VTubing will end up just being like a thing you can do as a streamer. A lot. Like, I know some people are like, oh, our VTubing culture. I think it'll eventually kind of like settle to a point where it's just like a thing you can do. Some people will do it all the time. Some people won't do it some of the time. I know there have been several VTubers who've been a little more open about also doing like IRL stuff, whether that's actual face cam or hand cam or just other shit, And there's some people who, you've talked about like some very creative stuff. There's some people with whose VTuber rigs are very funny and cute, but not like super artistry. Like just like, little funny haha mascot characters like slamming keyboard keys or controller buttons and stuff,
Oh no, I definitely think about that stuff a lot. I do think though there is just a surplus of VTubers that are just a woman with increasingly with big hadoobla-doos. Just big hadonkadonks. And then a new VTuber shows up and then they have even a bigger wombo combos.
They're like no offense to the artists, they've done a very good job with it, but there are literally kits you can order these days.
Yeah, so I don't know. I still think about VTubing. It's still something that I feel like I want to pursue. Again, I always wrestle with the fact that like, am I entertaining enough? Can I have an audience? Will people like my voice? Honestly, if you want to actually make Lucky feel good, tell him you like his voice.
Be careful.
Don't you lie to me.
He'll get self-conscious.
But it's like one of those things I want because I always talk about this. I want to grow our community. I don't want to be like big or explosive and have people, how do I want to explain the level of popularity I wish I was? Like, cause we're like, despite like doing this for like almost 10 years, we're still pretty grassroots. We're not big. We don't have a lot of production. We don't have a lot of people. Some of my people say like, you got 3,000. I'm like, that's small potatoes, fam. It's small.
It's above the curve for like literally who, but it's not really that big.
No. Yeah, no. It's all like I would like to have. I don't care. Like if like I think the 3K abyss is it. I don't care if we have like explosive growth or whatever. I just want growth. I want more people to tune in and go, hey, I like what you have to say. I don't think it's necessarily a numbers. I just want to feel like it's not the same guys over and over and over again listening. I appreciate the same guys listening over and over and over again, but I don't know.
I know. I do sometimes worry that I feel like a broken record or a nagging mother. But like I will say, if you are listening now, whether you're new or old, do feel free to drop a comment in the comment section on YouTube. I know our Discord is very accessible and I like it a lot, but on the YouTube end, comments and that kind of engagement do like help promote algorithm and like shape kind of things and let YouTube know to kind of throw stuff in front of it. And also, it is just nice to see your feedback, whether you're new or old. It's hard to pick out, to know if we've got new faces or new voices if you don't, give us a line to see. I do know that, when we do live streams sometimes, that like I can catch like a new face occasionally. Sometimes people will stumble into like fail portrayal or something. I don't know. I've seen some people who I don't recognize in like a couple of the different Resident Evil streams.
I think like I always joke about the survey. I don't know how much tracking in, but maybe it is time that I actually dust off the survey because I do want like again, it's something that I have been thinking about for like the past several months is the direction that I want to take this channel in, and whether I have to cause mutiny with a mega to do it, but I don't want to be the man without a plan. If I'm gonna, take control of this ship, I gotta understand what's going on. And I don't. Because I don't know what people want. I don't know what I want. I don't know what a mega wants. And I'm just kind of floundering with that right now. It's tough. But enough of that tough talk. We're gonna move on. I'm not gonna sell my bread, Robin. By the by, Lucky makes bread now. Makes it from scratch. It's delicious. It's fucking dense, though. He has not mastered his kneading technique. Yes, there is kneading technique. I looked this up. There are actually different styles of kneading. I was all like, man, bread really is old as shit. We have fucking martial arts for making bread. That's rad.
Bread arts.
If I have to make a bread making video, I have to make it goofy as fuck as me just throwing bread around and like fucking shit breaking. A normal ass bread making video would not be entertaining for me. I would have to add colorful language and theatrics. I could do it though. Also, the problem with like me making videos is I do not have any sort of decent video recording equipment. Like my cell phone is, well, I don't want to say it's old as balls, but it's definitely like in like the 7-8 year old range, which for phones is old as balls. And it was not a particularly high performing phone then. I'm already thinking about what I would do, since I would just have to use like super coarse language, and I'll be like, check this shit out, it's yeast! Just throw yeast on shit.
Maybe chuckle just now. Yeast to me, bro.
Oh no, that would be me. That would be me taking a picture of the bread mixture, and I just put it in a fucking tiny place. Yeast to me, bro. Like I said, like believe it or not, video editing and production is something that is in my wheelhouse, and I do have like skills for it. We've talked about this. Lucky is super ADD, like super ADD. Like I really need to fucking figure out how to get like properly diagnosed and medication for it. Literally, it is keeping me from taking over the world. The minute that Lucky can focus on a project for more than 2 hours is the day that the world is going to get taken over. But no, enough on that. We're moving on.
Yep.
This next one comes from its follower of Concealments. They say, hey guys, hope you're having a good week and are in good health. I'm alive. I guess that's good. Question, have you guys seen the anime movie Expelled from Paradise? Because the world's setting almost similar to OC3. And also, do you guys got LB6 PTSD when you saw the timeline button? Sending good vibes? Wah. And have good weekend. I will have good weekend. I hope. I had a burrito. That has made my anyway. Also, I have, believe it or not, I have actually looked into making reactive images in OBS. Now, there are some plugins that I have been looking into. I just haven't put into implementation because, well, one, I need to draw new assets, and another thing I'm struggling is if I want to get rid of my 2-monitor setup. I like my 2-monitor setup, but if I want to actually use my tablet properly, I can't use a 2-monitor setup. My fucking computer does not have enough fucking HDMI ports for it.
And
we live in an age of...
Get a new computer.
And no, a splitter does not work. I have bought a splitter. The splitter does not work. Do not suggest a fucking splitter.
He's tested that.
But also, yes, I have seen Expelled from Paradise. It was a strange little movie. I liked it. I guess the whole, AI nation in space is kind of OC3 related. And with, the Earth being ruined. Actually, probably more extra vibes now that I think about it than, OC3. Because, like guys, I don't know if you realize this fucking, OC3 is super extra coded. It makes fucking 6, but it's fucking extra coded as fuck.
Yeah. No, there's quite a lot of vibes references to extra.
Yes, Blacklist, that's why I said it, because I knew someone was going to suggest it. Because someone suggested it last time and I tried it out and it didn't work. I don't know what it is about my tablet, but it doesn't like it. And I want to be able to actually use the actual screen when I use it, because that helps with my perspective. Neat way. Oh no, I remember what Omega said he would want to be, and I'm going to keep to that. I'm gonna stay the fucking Black Bunny blob that I've always been, but Omega said once that he would like to be a sword, but have a beautiful girl holding the sword. The girl doesn't say anything, the sword just glows and lights up. I remember that. That's in my notes.
Yeah, that is something I said that I thought about, like, what my VTuber avatar would be, and I'm like, no, I would just be a talking cursed sword, and then just have the breasting boobily anime lady, like, hold me up.
No, so I have, like, ideas for design, but like I said, like, again, this is another thing, like, Lucky's been talking, like, Lucky's been laying awake at 3... Okay, that's a lie. It's not been laying awake at 3 a.m. Lucky's been fully up at 3 a.m. playing Rise of the Ronin. More on that fucking later.
I got that in my notes.
But been up at 8 a.m. when I am trying to actually sleep, thinking about, man, I need to get back on my art and my writing. I need to learn how to draw. I've forgotten how to draw. I have not drawn in so long, I have forgotten how to draw. I now consider myself someone who does not draw. Also, Lucky as the Tyranid Bunny Blob would actually, evolve as I got better at stuff. Probably stuff, but I don't know. Anyway. Yes, I've seen Expel from Paradise. I saw it when it came out. I did not see it in theaters. It did have a super limited theater release at the time, but it was like super fucking limited. God, I think it was like less than like 20 theaters in the US you see it in.
Wow. Smaller than IMAX. That's right. Those things are good.
Yeah. Like I said, like, oh god, anime has become so mainstream recently. You can fucking... I got to see the Chainsaw Man, the movie, had multiple fucking theaters. So did fucking Demon Slayer.
Yeah, several. Sorry. I've been oxygenating myself a little, so I've been trying to talk a little bit less while I'm fighting with that, so I don't yawn directly into the microphone. We've talked about that. But, yeah, no, there are a lot of anime movie premieres that are big lately.
Big. But I have seen it. I don't remember a lot about it, unfortunately. Like I said, I saw that movie, oh god, almost 10 years ago. I do know it has a sequel coming out, though. I remember that. I think it comes out, like, this year, next year? I don't know. Let's see if I can find, like, the original movie. I do remember it had some sick-ass designs, though. And hearing someone saying that, you know, the person who did designs for Xenosaga 2 and 3 worked on them, I'm like, oh, okay, rad.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This person also asked about the timeline button, and I did actually have a moment, not necessarily like PTSD, but I definitely did, like, it took me a second. I don't know when it appeared exactly, but I did notice it partway through and go, wait a minute, open it up. Wait a minute, this is empty.
That's not good.
That's quite bad. That means you're going to fill it in later. He does love his little reference materials.
Well, I think it's important that you can keep track of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, as in with most stories, not everything is as it seems here. And I've already get the impression that, well, I have the feeling that the final bosses are not quite the final bosses we're being made to expect here in true BB fashion. I put this in my notes for the thing, but it's all like, we're having a lot of talks in OC3 about, you know, even if a person is different, you know, at some levels, they're still the same. And I would like to remind everyone that even as BB Dumai, she is still chaotic good. You BB haters out there.
Yeah, I do not think they actually go so far as to... Actually, did they? Let me actually check the wiki. I don't think they added her alignment, but it has been a little bit since I did that video. Sorry, excuse me. Normal BB is chaotic good because of reasons, mostly being that that's her self-described alignment. We've advanced technology to kind of get through that. Yeah, no, her alignment is chaotic good all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That is not something I can say about every servant anymore. We've gotten real freaky deaky with alignments and traits and shit shifting between ascensions, so it is important to double check.
Yeah.
Is Khazra drop early October?
At this point, I think so.
I think it was. Wasn't it September? Actually, isn't it going to be like technically when OC3 is still going?
Oh, what the heck? Khazra drop is lawful good? Excuse me? Hang on a second here.
I think most of the alter egos are lawful good, but that's something we always want to be careful about interpreting. Gilgamesh has been like chaotic good. I think like Archer Gilgamesh has been chaotic good for like forever, despite the fact that he is straight up an antagonist and often villainous in the original Fate Stay Night. But also, Nasu likes to go out of his way to be like, no, he was not corrupted. The Grail can't possibly get his ass. Okay, so he's just being an asshole then, Mr. Nasu. But yes, if you don't get it, gang, I'm sure this will come up more later, but BB is chaotic good because fundamentally she's trying to be helpful. This is a recurring theme in this story as well. We keep talking about it, is like, AIs are fundamentally created by and to help humanity, so to not do that would be to, you know, go against their fundamental nature. But, like, BB is not afraid to do good using evil things.
Oh, I understand now what Khazra drops like this. They put it very succinctly here. I will not explain why this, but I'm like, I get it.
From interacting with her, I think I understand it. I phrased this to our Discord once. I feel like Khazra drop is kind of like the opposite of BB. She's very, like, personally antagonistic to BB about stuff. And like, you know, has her own, kind of like, you know, selfish reasons to do things. But she can be, you know, very orderly, very within the lines, that sort of thing.
Oh no, like, what I'm in this... Khazra drop is very much kind of a rule stickler in kind of the opposite way that BB just kind of goes with the vibe sometimes.
Yeah. And if you're wondering how that makes sense, it makes perfect sense, because please remember that the Sakura 5 were parts of BB that she cut off from herself because she felt they were unnecessary, and they're all kind of like two-sided coins. But yes, timelines are important.
Timelines are important. Like I said, I have filled in quite a bit of mine, but not all answers have been answered, so I am curious to see where it goes here. Tanikaku, we're moving on. This next one comes from Tired of All the Worms. You have to fight a lot of rock-digging worms. Why are there so many rock-digging worms?
I made a couple of jokes about worms in my... I took, like, very loose notes about first impressions when something, like, popped for me playing this game. There are several comments I made about, like, these fucking worms. I think the one for, like, the last one I've run into so far in part 2 is I just fucking quoted Dracula Flow. The worms are back!
I suppose. There is a reason to it. But now I just know we're going to start using these worms in other things in the future. I'm just like, God damn it. But they say, howdy, Lucky and Omega. Hope you're all having a good week and hope you're feeling better this week. Once again, I'm going to try and fix my sleep schedule so I'm not waking up at 3 to 4 p.m. You know, going to bed at like 7 to 8 a.m. That's bad, y'all.
It's a little wacky. Not good for your circadian rhythms.
No, yes, I love the BB and I love the Sakura 5, and I wish I could have NP500 of all of them, but I can't.
Bad for your vitamin BB. That was about sleep schedule, guys, but I looped it together.
Sorry, he made that sound, so I post this GIF.
Taking a second to load on my end, but I'm pretty sure I know what it is. Yes, laughing gecko. So I got a big Discord likes, but we did that. Anyway, worms.
But they have a question. They say, I know the buffs aren't done on JP, but of these servants buff, who has been your favorite so far? I've always been secretly a fucking Saber Giles stan. Like, he's actually put some work into me. He was usually my 3-star Saber of choice back in the early times. I know a lot of people use like Caesar or maybe Fergus. I was like, nah, give me that Giles. So I'm glad for him. I think the one that probably had the most impact on me is Mozart, though. So I was like, because it is really good, but also at the same time, I am concerned for my Tamamo stocks. Like, while she does have a powerful heal and arts thing, you know, Mozart's is like only 6% less than, you know, her 50% target, and it has way more effects. I'm just like, ugh. So I'm like, I'm looking at Amadeus now, and so like, I should probably invest in him for like better art strats, but I really don't want to. It hurts my Tama pride.
You know, that's how they go with obviously cheapos, budget units.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
Most of them are not cheap these days.
Cost effective.
Very. I mean, Kyuko's morph's pretty cool, but I do have a lot of berserkers. Honestly, probably the one for me that's most interesting is like Saber Giles is also pretty cool. I do still use Jean a lot, so like there's some very funny stuff we can work with that as well. But probably the one that I think, I don't know if it's my favorite, but the one that I'm going to see the most interesting use out of is probably Leonidas. I have actually used Leonidas as my in you know, intense CQ situations as my budget comp tanker, and his taunt just got like way better.
Also, Blackleast, that is not the secret, because then where am I going to put my Castoria and my Ibuki? Literally. Oh, I forgot to fucking mention this on records, but it's true. Yeah, my summer Buki's Bond 15.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is a pretty big
I have used Tamamo, Castoria, and summer Buki so much they are all Bond 15.
No, that makes sense. As my my own Castoria is like a decent chunk of the way to Bond 13.
Like, I'm slowly working on like trying to phase them out so I can, but like that team has worked so well for me for so long. Like I said, there's like, you know, Lucky, you know, shouts it from the rooftop constantly. I do not do double support strats. And I have had to, you know, get, you know, some weird ass tools and, you know, crowbar some strats into place, but I have made them work. Yeah, no, well, honestly, once the frickin' what they call it above, Visionaries Flames?
Yes, something like that. I think it's
comes out, like I said, it's like they're going back in. It's like, that's gonna be 3 of them. Was it? It's like 20% per? 25% per? I can't remember the numbers. But like right now, my main strategy is usually I put in the unit that I'm bond farming with in the 3rd slot, and always just order change my Tamamo back into the front line and go from there.
It works.
I know what's up. Yeah, but this is why I'm looking at units like like BB Dubai, who's, has pretty good arts, like has some arts use. Paracelsus, who has some arts use. Mozart, who has some arts use. I'm looking at the other guys. I'm like, man, I really need to stop going to my my old faithful and start branching out there. But I don't want to.
Well, there are benefits for spreading out, obviously, with bond farming and stuff. But yeah, no, FGO is a very interesting game. Like, I think honestly, a lot of these buffs are so to open up the field. If you do not have certain 5-star 1% chance units from maybe not playing the game for all 11 years, shit like that. So like, there are budget options and there's a lot of stuff. And if you really want to go ham, you can make it work with by increasing these guys a lot with foes and grails and stuff. Yes, no, my constant problem of I've tried to roll for Oberon and don't have him, so it's like, well, fuck, dude, I can't do any Oberon strats. This is not for lack of trying. It's not that I don't like the guy. I don't got him. I can't do it. And there are a few supplementary strategies, but yeah, there's a wide variety of funny different things you can do, and it's interesting.
Honestly, what I do actually is I need to work on my Buster strats because I need to get my Koyanskayas up and my Tiamats up, and who else? Bargus hit 10, Water Bargus hit 10, Kama's at 10. I still need to work on Summer Kama, getting her up to 10. I don't actually care if Oberon hits 10, but he's fucking useful, so I'm gonna put that fucking moth to work. What? You say we have a love-hate relationship? No, it's a hate-hate relationship. I don't know. I just have thoughts. I don't know what else to say about that. Anyway, we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
This next one comes from the Master. There's a question mark in there. Loved by Kohais. Sorry, I'm just thinking about the Ron Burgundy, the Ron Burgundy bit. If you put it on the teller, he'll read it. I'm still mad the girl did that and got completely sapped with it. Got away with it scot-free. That was bullshit. Hey guys, hope you're surviving the heat better than I am. Isn't it colder where you are generally?
It's also, it could be on fire where he is.
Oh, I don't know if I mentioned this. I think I mentioned this here. But a couple days ago, I went outside. I'm like, the air, it's smoky. The air, tastes burnt. The sun looks orange, and I can actually look at it. My state's on fire.
Yeah, I've gotten a few alerts about wildfires in the area, but nothing too close and nothing not actually perceptible. It could be that maybe there's smoke in the air, and that's what's bothering my sinuses and lungs. Because I know most people do not take smoke well, but I get real fucked up on just a little bit of smoke in the air. But yeah, it's tough. It's hot. It's hot right now.
Unfortunately, I don't think it's coal and oil companies burning down forests. I'm gonna be real.
Not directly, anyway. Some of that might be related to climate change, but there may also be other different human factors.
No, the planet could just be heating up, X. I don't want to say no, it's not humans have it, but the planet will change temperature. We went through 2 ice ages, The planet has been around for such a impossibly long time. Who are we to say what is necessarily affecting it in the greater or lower scheme of things? Humans are not that important. Excuse me.
But runaway emissions will eventually cause a runaway greenhouse effect.
Yeah.
So do watch out for that. This is what got Venus. Well, volcanoes did. We have no proof that there were living things on Venus, but Venus literally has a runaway greenhouse effect. So we know what it looks like if it gets a little too juiced.
Mm-hmm.
Even nature can fuck itself up.
Yeah. That's nature. Hang on. So they spelled this funny. Quipsion. I'm timing him out for this. 1 minute jail.
Send him to prison.
Quipsion. Do you have any servants that are way too eager to show up anytime they have a raid up, regardless of form? Asking for no particular reason. Cheers. This is why he got timed out. He knows what he's saying. I'm not answering this. I'm moving on.
This wise guy posted this, by the way, right around when we started recording.
Also, thank you, Veterano King, for confirming that, yes, it is 25% per servant. This is going to be useful. This next one comes from Agent 418, who says, hello, Lucky to Mega. Have a good weekend, y'all. Thank you. This next one comes from Lord of Darkness. They say, dear Lucky and Omega, no question this week, just want to say, Moon! That is all. Thank you for your time and wishing you both well and sending good vibes. Wah 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 wah.
Hey.
Hey.
Powerful urge to just shout, Moon!
Moon! But that is that. Thank you very much for everyone for sending in your submissions to Mailbag. We do this every show. The submission is usually in Friday before we record. And the deadline is until basically Mailbag starts. I hit that last refresh. So if you want to hear what you want to hear us talk about what you have to ask on air, please check out our YouTube community page.
Yep. That one came out a little funny. All right. That's Mailbag.
I pre-read your question, Robin. That's what I did. You know what you did.
You know what it is. All right. We're going to take a little break-ski because we're recording for about 2 hours. And when we get back, we'll jump into Chaldea Free Talk. No time at all will pass for you, though. And we're back. All right. Entering Free Talk, which, as we said before, we are not recapping yet, but don't worry, there's still quite a bit of stuff here.
Of course I start coughing. Sorry, I wanted to mention this. It's not that I'm not writing, it's just that writing has taken a lot longer because A, ADD, B, sleep schedule fuck, C, stress, and D, some of this shit's dense. I'm only on section 4 and there's already 10 pages of notes.
Yeah, I know when you played it, you were like, oh, I don't think there was only one section that was really wordy.
Well, I don't know. Again, I freaking read fast, so I didn't actually correlate my read speed to my type, to recontextualize, summarize, and type speed.
Yes. As you said earlier, your hubris.
My hubris.
But yes, no, Lucky is working on the recap. It's doing great, but it's not already yet. And I think it's okay because, one, we're at Free Talk and we've been recording for like over 2 hours. And also, two, as I mentioned at the top with like the deadlines, this story is kind of spread out weird. Like, it's not like Lost Belt 6 or even 7 where there were like couple week gaps or more. This is like 1 week and go. So some of it's like easy to clear. Some of it is slow for people. Like, I know various people working on various things. But yes, it's Free Talk. What to Free Talk? And let's start, just because I think I mentioned it technically more recently, with new Servant Deets, because we do have Azrael, the original Hassan Isaba. The old man of the mountain, but he's, a guy. I think the implication of Azrael is that the armored Gramps is actually is nothing but the suit of armor. He's truly borderless. But yes, he has higher attack, lower HP compared to the old man of the mountain. He's, an SSR assassin, so there's a few of them to pick from. He does have a one quick, 2 arts, 2 busters deck. Good hits, average MP gain. He's 0.49, and he has 4s or 5s. 5 on the quick, 4 on the arts and buster. His NP is single target arts. It deals bonus damage to enemies with the Thirst for Death status. We'll talk about that in a second. It has a pretty high chance to instant kill, and specifically if it instant kill triggers, he gets a 50% NP refund. This is on top of the fact that it is a, arts NP. So he can do Schlorpen and Glorpen. Big resets. The Reseto Kaiba, as I hear some people say. Overcharge effect is just NP damage up first. Pretty normal stuff. The first skill is a 20 to 30% attack up on self for 3 turns, a 1-time 3 turns debuff immune on self, a 1-time 3 turn guts for 3k to 5k, pretty big guts. It's also a 2 hits, 3 turns evade, and a 50 to 80% battery. That's a lot on a first skill. Yes, that's right, Chad. That was all 1 skill. Second skill is targetable. It has slightly different effects. If you put it on an ally, a non-Azrael ally, Az still gets 20-30% arts up for 3 turns, but it gives the targeted ally -2 turns skill cooldown, their own 1 times 3 turns, 3k to 5k guts, a 20-30% attack up, and a 20-30% battery. If you use it on Azrael, he still gets the 20-30% arts, but he gets 30-50% crit damage for 3 turns as well, -2 turns of skill cooldown, and 30-50 stars. That's right, 30-50 stars. So if you use it on himself, he's basically guaranteeing you max crit. If you use his 80% battery, you might have full NP, like, very self-sufficiency stuff. Final skill inflicts doom on all enemies for 3 turns. This is, in fact, the Thirst for Death status, but it's got a skull and you die in 3 turns. It's doom. Doom. If they don't die, in the 3 turns. So basically, it's a countdown timer, and if it hits 3 turns, they get afflicted with instant death. If they do not die for whatever reason, they get 50% defense down for 1 turn instead, on the trigger turn. It's also a terror on all enemies for a 30 to 40% chance to stun them. 1 time 3 turns as usual. Also, they get a regenerating debuff, which is all enemies get 20% defense down every turn for 3 turns. That's both. The defense down lasts for 3 turns, and also the effect happens every turn for 3 turns. And the same rules on a death resist down, but it's 50%. So, as much as 150% death resist down, which is important because death resist, or instant death resist, and instant death rate are really weird percentages. They have a very specific formula calculation, which is based on the rarity of the enemy and stuff. But passives are Presence Concealment C++. He's not that concealed. It's pretty normal. He has Magic Resistance E++ for just a little bit of debuff resistance. Does have Independent Action B, so he's got pretty good crits there. And then he has a passive version of his Protection of the Faith skill, so he has 10% attack and defense up all the time, and 20% debuff resistance, and heals 500 per turn, just like Seal. So that's pretty cool. And then he has a unique passive. This makes him immune to instant kill, period. Makes him immune to charm most of the time. It's a 500% resistance. So you can't get around it with debuff success up or debuff resistance down. So he's basically functionally immune to charm. And also, whenever he hits anybody with an arts card, he gives them a 30% instant death down resist for 3 turns. So it's not Gramps' chance to just on any command card instantly kill somebody by a very tiny amount, but he will make it more likely that your instant kill will proc. He is a killer unit in all senses, the Grand Assassin. They named Assassin after this guy. It's true. And he gets to be a Freak Angel of Death in his 3rd Ascension. It's pretty cool. Also, by the way, if you don't know, he has Shiki Tona's voice actor.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's on purpose. It's meant to be. But no, he's a pretty neat unit. I'm as a guy who has, I think, NP2 original Gramps and NP3 MHX and lots of other shit. I'm not hurting for single target assassins, but he's cool. I like what they're doing with him. And honestly, I think this is the first time that Thirst for Death Doom status effect has appeared on a playable servant. It's very funny. I do not know how likely it is to proc on the 3 turns, but I think it's a good idea, and I do like that it is a built-in effect if it whiffs, which is just they still get 50% defense down for a turn, so you still get to capitalize on it. You just got to wait it out. So it's a pretty interesting one. Let us do the last bit of pregame first, and then, depending on my sauce levels, I don't like to delay Fanservant Friday forever, and I did do it this time. I prepped ahead of time. Had it done by yesterday. I just was feeling... Actually, I should have said that earlier. Sorry, that's my bad. We didn't record for sure yesterday because Lucky was okay with getting more time to write more. I think you were at the top of Interlude 1 at the time.
Yeah, I've been writing.
So, to put that in perspective for everybody... but I was feeling way more tired and hot and stuffed up. I did have a shower, which kind of took me out of the I'm dying range, but I was still, once again, very, very sleepy yoni baby for most of the night. So I was okay pushing it, and it's fine because the show is big slamming.
It's huge.
So we're going to catch to the end of Intermission 2. And I have been told by several people that the final boss, or even some of the final boss fights in Ordeal Call 3 can get a little spicy, so do not be afraid to use any blue rocks. I have not yet had to blue rock.
Oh, now that I think about it, neither have I.
Yeah. Some of these fights are tricksy, and I did reset some of them because I was, I think I remember very specifically, there's a fight where Hasara is use your command spells if you have to, and I'm okay, I'm not gonna. I won't actually then. So I had to fiddle with that one a little, rather than brute force it, that way. But no, I've not actually had to rock. I've had a couple of spooky, scary fights, but we've managed to clutch it out. But they have some spicy ones. You should get a chance to buy some new rocks, I think. Anyway, the final run, which is dropping soon, on the 12th for us, is sections 15 to 22. So I think that's, let's see, because the first one is 1 through 9 and 1 interlude, so that's about 10 sections. So 15 to 22 is less than that, though I think there are 2 interludes in this part. But they are some spicier fights. So starting at section 15 is mostly a mess of mobs, but probably most important is Pip 3. You must use Hakuno and Seal both you and the enemy have maxed NP to start. And there are these 3 Berserker mobs who have HP from 150k to 250k. Pip 4 is a Seal Solo, with only 1 bar you have to break at 220k HP from another Moon Cancer. But then in the final battle, you gotta go all the way. A Moon Cancer with 174, 205, 255, 374, and 608k HP. Every break bar will do a card color up. It will cycle between, Buster, Quick, Arts, etc. Number 1 will do that thing I've mentioned in previous chapters about increasing their crit and NP stuff again. When you crit them, they get buffs. When you NP them, they get buffs. Number 2, we had a skill seal. Break bar number 3, we seal all your NP and buffs, including backline. And then at number 4, we have +1 charge per turn and 30% damage resist. So buckle up. This one's gonna be a little freaksy. Sorry, I bumped my mic arm. Section 16 also starts a series of fights as well. You gotta run through some stuff. First, you gotta fight a Lancer who has 120, 135, 158k HP, and a Ruler with 104 HP. When you break their first bar, they're gonna retreat. But the Lancer has a taunt as well, so keep that in mind. And you must use some combination of Bart, Mash, and or BB Cosmo.
Mm-hmm.
Next, you must also once again take Mash, BB Cosmo, or Jufu with you. Jufu gets buffs. She's coming back. The boss is now an alter ego with 228, 301k HP, and when you hit them, you will lose your latest offensive buff and get 10% defense down. That's right, you get punished for smacking them. On bar 2, they heal 5k HP per turn and will give you attack and NP gain down buffs on hit. Final bit of 16 is now a Moon Cancer, 303 and 442k HP. Team must include some combination, once again, of Mash, Jufu, BB Cosmo, and Hakuno. The enemy is completely immune to stun, and starts with both 500% damage resist and 1 million damage cuts for 3 turns. Though it does not look like these are unremovable. But they're also debuff immune for 5 turns straight. Each turn, she's going to suck your NP by 20% and gives herself buffs. And then the third time you do it, the third break bar, she's going to transform into a giant woman, if this gives you any idea of who we're facing. She also gives you 10% debuff resistance downs for every turn and can stun you on crits. She has the potential for nasty buffs. And the battle ends when you break the first bar twice. No, I am not joking. The boss will just say, nuh-uh, and you gotta do it again. We do a lot of this playing around with the interface stuff. Anyway, section 17 is here to wrap this particular arc. We're gonna face off with those. First, you gotta solve Tenok. She's back. She's a boss. You gotta fight her again. 203, 231, 292k HP. You only have 3 units, and funnily enough, Bart cannot be one of them. He's locked out of this fight. But if you bring BB Cosmo, she turns everybody in the squad spaceflight capable, so they're immune to the stun. BB Cosmo takes everybody to space. I do not understand the context of this yet, but I'm here to warn you that it is a note that was on the wiki. If you bring Hans to this fight, Tenochtitlan will bully him. Her AI is coded to give him debuffs and beat his ass. Love Hans stonks in this Ordeal Call are huge, by the way. Love that guy.
I'm still laughing about the fucking John bit in Astolfo's thing.
No, that was so great. I'm glad I looked that up to know, because I don't think I ever would have picked the joke, because John is not one of my offensive units. But I brought her to that fight, and it's great. Where was I? Right. Every other turn, she still stuns, as usual, unless you're spaceflight capable. She also does her usual thing where she will, after the first break bar and stuff, she will use her skills to change it to water side. On bar 2, breaking her second HP bar, she will strip your offensive buffs and then get +1 charge also. That's, this fight is really interesting because I think they play around like Ordeal Call 2 did a lot of stuff with cranking your Avengers to be really strong, but making you fight a lot of Avengers, right? Ordeal Call 3 seems to play around by mostly either, removing your offensive buffs or, giving the enemy lots of defensive buffs for you to fuck around with. Seen a decent number of, evades and invulns and stuff. Anyway, after solving a problem like Tenochtitlan, you gotta get back to that boss you couldn't beat earlier. You must use some combination of Karna, Jufu, Tenochtitlan, Mash, BB Cosmo, or Hakuno. Bart cannot be used. The enemy has a suspiciously Rider-shaped enemy at 170k HP, and the Moon Cancer is back with 303k HP. The Rider has a taunt and a guts, but Tenochtitlan will give you immunity to that Moon Cancer boss's stun on crit. If you break their bar, they regenerate it. Before using their NP, they're going to slurp up all your buffs, remove their debuffs, get NP damage up, and also charge the Rider's NP. Battle ends after 1 Moon Cancer NP. So you basically just gotta wait until the designated loss, because this shit sucks otherwise. I'm very glad there are quite a few endurance battles which are marked, and then there are also several battles which are like alternate win cons or straight up just like no more do you have to win to lose, you know? If you lose, you just lose. It's okay. We figured out the code, chat. We can figure out how to program the game to let you clear the story node by losing. Anyway, Pip 6 is the final battle. You gotta do that thing with that Moon Cancer again. She's got 303, 400, 522, 734k HP. She's gonna do that bullshit to start with the 3 turns of 500% damage resistance and then 1 million damage cut, and then she's gonna transform. Same selection of skills, same selection of possible team supports. I don't think you're forced to pick anybody this time, but if you use them, your army of story-related servants will get buffs. Same chance to do skills for buffs in the last big fight. So it was really a beta. You'll get to test it out and then try it out. On the second to last bar this time, you will get all 3 colors down and skill seal. And then on the last bar, she's going to hit you with the all colors down and then NP seal. So consider busting out your Atlas Academy uniform. I'm pretty sure Section 18 is like mostly story or mobs because we jump straight to Section 19. It's time to deal with Baby Dubai. There's no sugarcoating it. We gotta do Baby Dubai. Pip 2 is your first fight with her. She's got 207k HP. You must take Akarna, Nikki, Tenoch, or Jufu. They get buffs. No command seals, no MC skills. It's one of those fights. BB has 20% damage resistance and Pierce Invul. If you go 3 turns, she kills you. She gets her NP and she kills you. You will start with all units at 100% NP and you just have to break 1 bar. So this is a time fight. Get BB before she gets serious. Pip 3 is basically the same as Pip 2, but she's got 212k HP this time, and you must use Bart, MH, double XA, or Percy, same 3-turn time limit. Now, Pip 4 is a little more involved, so the way this is going to work is Mash has got to be in front, and you got to use either Hakuno or BB Cosmo. She's down to 3 to 4k HP. Any servants you bring, like anyone you pick, will have a 3-turn kill timer and cannot be order changed. So BB will just blow them up for a little bit. But Mash and the support NPCs are free. After you break the 1 bar, BB will auto-fire her NP and the battle ends. So three races against time, basically. Pip 6, we're actually going to finish this. You must select. Mandatory. You must take Mash, Space Aresh, and either the NPC Seal or BB Cosmo. I think Space Aresh is either story or yours. I will be taking mine. Buffs abound. Everybody on your side gets buffs. BB Dubai herself has 30% attack up and Pierce Invul for 10 turns. Fuck you. Don't be blocking. On break 1, she debuffs herself with random debuffs. On break 2, is very funny. So, when you break her second HP bar, which I know that I didn't actually write down the numbers, so I don't think they're too crazy, but, when you break her second bar, she eats her own next HP bar, so there are no bars left, but she gets a 50% guts, gives herself NP damage and crit up, and fully charges her NP bar. So, like, she will, rather than, like, growing an extra, like, HP bar, she will actually slurp up one of her own to get a guts and, auto-fire NP and stuff. And that's the fight. Section 20. You have to fight a giant moon cancer named Moon Cancer. We found it, guys. We found the Moon Cancer. I will offer no context at this time. They have 308, 337, 381, and 620k HP. That is 4 bars. Formation restriction. You must use some combination of Space Aresh, Seal, Archetype Earth, Mash, and male or female Hakuno. Everybody I've just listed gets buffs. If you can fit both Hakunos in the team comp, they get extra buffs. So they get story buffs on their own, but if you put both of them in, they get some funny stuff. Also, if you can fit both Seal and Arc in the team comp, they also get duo buffs. We're having some fun with this one. 1 command card per turn on your side will be sealed. This can be fixed with the Hakuno's shuffle skill. The boss will give themselves 500% damage resist, debuff immune, and NP drain immune every break bar. But before they fire their NP, this effect is removed when they fire their NP. So, like, basically, you'll break a bar, they'll get buffs, or when they're ready to fire their NP, they'll give themselves buffs, and then when they fire their NP, these buffs go away. Break 1. They remove all their debuffs, they max their NP, they give themselves plus 10% max HP, and you get 30% defense down. So, by the way, those numbers I quoted to you, they're not even correct. Break 2. Removes all debuffs. Maximizes NP. Plus 10% max HP again, and you get 30% crit down. Break bar number 3. Removes all debuffs. Max NP. Plus 20% max HP. 100% guts, one time. And gives you a mess of per turn debuffs, including minus 500 HP and minus 10% NP per turn, and increased damage. This one is mean. This is the one that I think people were talking about. This one's gonna get your goat a little. So I'm ready to bully. Dust off your rulers, gang. Be ready for a scrap. But the battle's not over until the fat lady sings. Section 21, we have one last exhibition match against waves of servants. First, you have to fight a saber, 261 KHP, a caster, 224 KHP, and a foreigner, 267 KHP. They will have buffs, including the saber's NP is maxed. Battle 2 is against an archer, 252 KHP, a saber, 261 KHP, and another archer, also with 261 KHP. And the, shall we say, golden type archer will max NP. We ended with 2 moon cancers who are raring to go. They have 215, 271, 321 KHP, and 186, 223, 270 KHP, respectively. One of them does buster stuff, one of them does art stuff. Gee, I wonder. On break number 1, both of them get some buffs, like 100% guts or pierce invul. And on break 2, if you have not triggered the other guy's second break bar, they will remove all their allies' debuffs and charge their NP to max. So basically, whoever you break first will trigger this NP max charge and remove allies' debuffs effect. But if they've already done it, the other one won't trigger it twice. Also, it's important, chat, for reasons to explain to you how or negate anti-purge defense works. It pierces invincible and anti-purge defense. It does not stop evasion. So, I don't know, for no reason at all, consider investing in evasion. But yeah, after that, there's going to be, because that's only section 21, there's 22 sections. There'll be a story pip, get your grail, you go home. Increase your foundation of humanity, get some new free quests on the Bleached Earth, and you get to pick one Hakuno to take home with you. Somebody left a comment, I think, on last week's stream? Speaking about leaving comments, somebody left a comment last week, which was something to bring up if you are interested in getting the most out of your Hakuno. They are going to be in the FP Gacha right away. They are about the same rarity as Saber Lily, but there will be later on a FP Gacha raid-up campaign. So, and also, they didn't say it outright, but I think this may be related to the Kazura drop event, which is the back half of September. So, whenever you clear Ordeal Call 3, you may want to wait on spending your FP to roll more Hakuno copies until then, because, like I said, there will be a raid-up campaign for it in the FP Gacha. Also, yes, headphones in. I actually I start with my headphones in, at least, for almost every fight and story moments, because, like I said, I like to listen to little sound things and little leitmotifs. I don't always keep it in, because sometimes we're just like, okay, normal Grand Battle theme. Got it. But that is Ordeal Call 3. Which means, next, Fan Servant Friday. This is a thing we do once a month. It's supposed to be around the start of the month, but like I said, schedule last week got a little screwy. This is voted on by our $5 and higher patrons. Support us on Patreon. You can vote in the new poll right now. And basically the reason why it's the start of the next month is so that your voting power goes farther. You can subscribe for a month vote, and you don't got to worry about it ending after only like 10 days. 2 weeks actually usually is what I used to do it, but I changed that. But the servant selected by our lovely patrons, wonderful, beautiful patrons, this month is Wright Brothers. The Wright Brothers. The aviation pioneers. Orville and Wilbur Wright, if you did not know. Wilbur the older brother. Orville the younger. So, I assume probably most of you, if you are in America, have a loose grasp of who the Wright brothers are. But, to recap a little bit about servants, as we usually do, the Wright brothers are American aviation pioneers, homegrown Americans. They are generally credited with the invention of the first airplane. There's a little bit of debate about, like, parallel discovery, but generally we tag them with airplanes. And regardless of whether or not they were actually literally first, they had one of the first practical designs. And specifically, their big revolution, including what they ended up patenting, was they realized that it was a need for a appropriate control system to steer powered aircraft. And the 3-axis control systems that the brothers invented are still used in basically every airplane. Like, basically every airplane today uses the same control system that they designed in the early 1900s. I will also say, in terms of servant cutoffs, it's very loosey-goosey, but we also have characters like Tesla and Edison, so the Wright brothers totally make the cutoff. Also, unfortunately, Wilbur died relatively young and only age 45. Orville lived to be 76. He died in 1948. But this is also one of those guys who are like, these are absolutely like dual servants who are two guys in one Saint Graph, because you people do not think of the Wright brothers separately. Like, some people may know them as Orville and Wilbur. Orv and Will were their nicknames in childhood, by the way. But mostly you refer to them as the brothers together, because they worked pretty closely together. The fun fact, they actually, because this will come up later in their NPs and stuff, they actually built several aircraft prototypes. The one that was the practical design in 1905 was the Wright Flyer 3, so they iterated. The Wrights were the son of a clergyman who became I don't know if he was a bishop at the time, but he became a bishop. Their mother was descended from the Vanderbilts, the famous American Vanderbilts. So they had some interesting, had some decently high class backgrounds. Very American. They were allegedly fascinated by aircraft when they were very young. While living in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, their father bought them a toy helicopter based on the designs of French aeronaut Alphonse Pénaud. It was made of paper, bamboo, and cork with a rubber band. And apparently they played with it until it broke, and then they built their own. And the reason why we know this story is because when asked about later, like, hey, why did you get into flying? Because, spoilers, they didn't start in aviation. They said, oh yeah, we had a toy when we were kids. So, also, fun fact, for the time period, both brothers attended high school but did not receive diplomas. They moved and did not end up finishing all their years of school. But they, went through several businesses. Their first business was a printing business, started in 1889. Orville, with the help of Wilbur, designed and built his own printing press. So once again, these guys were not slouches in the inventing department. They ended up starting a print shop. They did orders. They launched a weekly newspaper, West Side News, and then eventually went to a daily paper, The Evening Item, though it only lasted 4 months. On the masthead, Orville was listed as publisher. Wilbur was editor. Then they switched to commercial printing, so they did a lot of printing jobs for other people, but, mechanical work. Next, they were swept by, and they Wikipedia phrases it this way when I looked it up first. They were spurred on by the national bicycle craze in 1892. But apparently, that's when the safety bicycle was invented, which was much better than the penny farthing. It has safety in the name. They got swept up in bicycle fever and ended up opening a repair and sales shop known as the Wright Cycle Exchange and then the Wright Cycle Company. And by 1896, were manufacturing their own bicycles. So again, they have always been, manufacturers, engineers. They used the bicycle money to get started in flying. They started with gliders. They looked at events at like the Smithsonian exhibition. The Smithsonian Institute was real big on flying in the late 1890s and the early 1900s. And they went through a whole bunch of stuff. I mentioned this before. The brothers always were public facing as a duo. They were always very supportive. Wilbur was usually the driving force. When he started writing in his own journal in like 1899 and like 1900, he talked of his machines and his plan. But once Orville signed on to the deal, he switched it all to we, our. Wilbur was kind of the driving force, but Orville was always there for his brother.
Yeah.
So, they are, like I said, they are a true duo unit, because I think that would be, that would be the only way to be doing it. You think of them as the Wright brothers, and like I said, they went out of their way to preserve their image as a duo. Anyway, they started working on their project, the Wright Flyers. The famous one, obviously, is basically in the year 1900, they went to Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, which has, become famous. If you don't know, Kitty Hawk is the name of, it's an aircraft carrier name, CV-63. It was the name of a B-2 stealth bomber. The P-40D was named the Kitty Hawk. That was a fighter aircraft. We had an aircraft transport ship. AKV-1 was USS Kitty Hawk. And also, we named the Apollo 14 command module after it. So, as usual, we I know we've only been on the block for about 250 years, but we have our own homegrown mythology. Also, super cool, by the way. So, the town is called Kitty Hawk. It is a incorporated town. But the Wright brothers actually did their testing on a hill nearby because there was soft, sandy soil and good prevailing winds. That is now a separate township that is called Kill Devil Hills. And as usual for American names, Kitty Hawk is, well, it sounds pretty good, is actually a corruption of a Native American word, which I think they've traced the etymology to a place to hunt geese.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so they went to Kitty Hawk, they built several prototypes, they flew them over several years. The one that everybody remembers is the 1905 flight, which is when they built their first powered controllable aircraft. That was the Wright Flyer 3, and started, mass producing it. They sent it back. And then they began, working on new stuff. Interestingly enough, kind of showing I think the tone of the boys and how it works out into everything. After their flight worked, they basically, and they said back the successful test, they immediately contacted the U.S. Department of War, and Uncle Sam immediately started writing checks. Well, not immediately, but they basically said, like, hey, as soon as you can prove this is a repeatable experiment where you can carry an operator, we're interested. Call us back. And they ended up, funding it as well. So they did public showings. They focused on expediting Europe. There was a little bit of patent war over the components, the ailerons, the control system. But they did end up winning, and they did, like I said, end up associated with the U.S. Army Air Corps, because they set up a pilot school. They started. Not only did they start selling airplanes, but also they established the Wright brothers flying school. So they taught people how to fly. They had a little bit of a feud with the Smithsonian, but they went through it all. And as I did mention before, unfortunately, Will did pass on quite a bit before his brother. Orville ended up as the sole proprietor of the company, but there are generally a pretty well thought of. The patent war and the lawsuits, like a lot of things, did kind of damage some of their public perception, but most of that has been smoothed off by time. And now there's a different rivalry, which is, I didn't know this for sure, but Ohio and North Carolina have beef about the Wright brothers, because the Wright brothers were born in and were working out of Ohio when they were doing their aviation experiments. But, as I mentioned before, the brothers went to Kitty Hawk and Kill Devil Hills to actually fly the planes. So, it's very funny. They have two separate state quarters about this. Both the Carolina and the Ohio one have the Wright Flyer on it. But Ohio says, birthplace of aviation, and then North Carolina is first flight. North Carolina's license plates also say first in flight. So, very funny. Also, the first airfield on Mars, which, yes, we have one of those. NASA flew helicopter drones this decade. Ingenuity off Perseverance. They named it Wright Brothers Field. So I'm hoping we stick to that one. But yes, the brothers very important for aviation. If you want to know like how the engineering of their Great Leap Forward worked, you can study that one in your own time. If you've ever played a fairly accurate flight sim, you probably understand 3-axis controls, though.
Yeah.
Pitch, yaw, and roll. So, like, they basically, like I said, they pioneered and patented the system that was like, okay, we've got it. We understand how to fly the plane now. So, that's pretty important. So, riders, as the servant, naturally. Alignment, lawful, neutral. They seem mostly be in it for the love of the game. Stats, as with a lot of modern servants, a little low. Strength D, endurance D, agility A, they do fly. Magical power, mana E, luck B, NPD, like, relatively low stats. Class skills, for riders, some of the normal stuff, riding C, that could be a little higher or lower, but I thought a nice median tier because, like I said, they were bicycle enthusiasts. Like, they were vehicle users before they invented the airplane.
Yeah.
Match resistance E because they are relatively modern. But independent action EX, I will explain why that's EX in a second. It's related to one of their personal skills, but I think a high-level independent action works for plain guys. Skills, not too crazy. We went back to a couple of old standbys here. I do think that their rating in this, though, would be pretty good. Axel turn A+, an emergency dodge in a vehicle. So several pre-existing units have this. I think, obviously, Wright or Da Vinci does to juke the Shadow Border, but I also believe that Summer Canis has this for their jet ski. Actually, does Mordred have... Mordred has an evade. I don't think it's an Axel turn, but it is supposed to be a juke on the surfboard. But a couple of units have Axel turn. Summer Ishtar has Axel turn.
Hang on. Now I'm going to look up. Because I'm remembering it.
I know Mordred has an evade. I don't remember if it's called Axel turn. Like I said, Summer Ishtar has Axel turn on her moped.
Yeah.
So I gave them A+. This is normally like a very short cooldown evade and some stuff. But like,
Rodeo flip.
Okay, so it's a cool flip.
Dual flip.
But they have a very high rank. I think maybe the highest rank we've seen in FGO so far because they specifically invented a control system for aircraft which are used for modern airplanes and are used for evasive maneuvers. So it's like, yeah, they're going to turn the airplane good. They can dodge real fast. Second skill, Brothers Bond. I took the naming convention for this from the Trunk Sisters Bond, but I do think the fluff is a little different. Also, here's a picture of the brothers in 1910, just to see what we're working with. Dapper boys. Personally, I know I usually talk about like aesthetics and Ascension stuff later, but personally I'm imagining they probably start pretty mundane, but get increasingly more steampunky.
Mm-hmm.
Like start in like suit jacket and tie, and then, by the third one we're like, busting out the extra stuff. I don't know, so... There's no interpretation of the subtext of this statement, but I do want to bring up both of the Wright brothers were confirmed bachelors. They did not marry or have children. They did not seem to have any romantic entanglements. They might have just been workaholics. One of them, I think it was Wilbur, said that they were so busy with their work they did not have time for the normal pursuits of a man. Oh, I did put the wrong channel. That's right. Hey, you can do that. I deleted already. You're making my delete redundant. That's right. So I usually tab back to Secret Tabletop. I'll delete it after confusing Wolf. There you go. There's the Dapper Boys.
Look at those bowlers.
Good old bowler hats. But yes, no, they did not appear to have any romantic entanglements, and I don't know if that's the subtext is like being gay or just like they were literally too busy. These guys quit high school to build a mechanical printing press and go into business. Okay. But the reason why I thought of that is because to bring up that they did say that they studied several of the great, engineers of history, including Leonardo da Vinci's designs. So to discover we have a Da Vinci might make their day. No, they were not broke. I think they were not broke ass engineers. Like they ran multiple successful businesses and turned that into future business. Which honestly probably means I probably should have given them a golden rule, but golden rules are very common, very normal skill. Brothers bond anyway. The bond between the two brothers, they went into business together multiple times, printing, bicycles, aviation. Their Saint Graph contains both brothers because they are inextricably tied together, but they are both still individuals, so they have unprecedented independent action. They can, function as basically two completely separate servants at the same time. And even if one were to be killed, that would not destroy both their spirit cores because, as I mentioned earlier, Orville did outlive his older brother by about 30 years. So I do imagine this would probably be like a guts effect. But also, the sisters bond that the Trunk sisters have is their skill that gives them stuff on Buster attack and on Arch attack. So I think, maybe the brothers are like dual Buster quick or something, or Arch quick. I think they gotta be quick, chat. They fly. But yes, I think this should include a guts element. I probably should have come up with a more unique name because I think they ended up buffing this skill for Edison, but I think it still fits. Mass production B, the ability to produce machines in quantity. This is the skill Edison has that lets him produce the Helter-Skelter robots indefinitely, similar to how Babbage could summon forth his mechanized soldiers from his reality marble. The brothers, can produce items in parallel because there are two of them. They worked with various mechanical items, and so they can convert magical energy into any mechanical item from the 20th century, except for certain advanced devices such as rockets and computers. I also put in my notes here, they can't make soldiers, though, unlike a certain bizarro inventor. but they can make planes and other mechanical devices, so they can do item creation-y type stuff. And of course, the big one, they gotta have Pioneer of the Stars EX. The unique skill of those who altered the course of human history, making things once mystical or unreachable mundane. Any task which is impossible becomes possible. The Wright brothers made powered human flight possible. Flying was previously a mystery. It was the realm of magic, and they made it arguably commonplace. Like, obviously there are struggles in the aviation industry now, but still think about the fact that, like, you could, if you wanted, go online right now, buy a plane ticket, fly somewhere. Technically, you can fly anywhere in the world if you have enough money and time. It's crazy. And like I said, a lot of that is still based on the underlying technology and principles that the brothers cracked. This is also the scale that, by the way, is the big battery and the Pierce Invul and the etc. The stars. Noble Phantasm, just one. I thought about, like, something to, like, represent Kitty Hawk, but I feel like also Fate kind of does this a lot, and I also do this a lot. Doing, like, pseudo-reality marbles that are not reality marbles to summon places is, like, super common, so I was like, yeah, let's just stick to the rough ideas. The Wright Flyer. Sorry, voice getting a little scratchy. I did do the pregame and then ramble, technically unscripted, on Fancy Friday for a second. I've taken a sip of water. But, Wright Flyer, a man might as well try to fly, B+. An anti-sky Noble Phantasm. It might also be anti-Earth, but I think anti-sky is funnier because, as usual, Fate can get very funny with what Noble Phantasms are anti. The power of flight in the hands of man. So, this Noble Phantasm represents both the aircraft that the Wright brothers built, but also the act of inventing modern aviation. As I mentioned before, they built not one, but 3 Wright Flyers to test out their various systems and ideals. They performed numerous glider tests beforehand. So, they opened a school to train pilots in their invention, and since the control system they developed is the basis for future airplanes, they basically have the power to command anything classified as an airplane and utilize it as the next Wright Flyer. This would not work on other flying machines, so it doesn't work for, like, blimps, helicopters, rockets, etc. But if we call it an airplane, they can just say, this is the Wright Flyer 4. This is our Noble Phantasm now. So you can, I think obviously in the way FGO is, like, you would probably not do it a lot, but, like, in a Fate story, this is a great excuse for them to do shit like what Lancelot did and, like, take over, a fighter jet if you need to juice up a little. Or they could just do, like, the thing at the end of the Mummy and take, a Sopworth camel. Fire machine guns at Sand Mummy faces. By the way, completely unrelated, but they keep rolling out cast announcements for the upcoming Mummy 3.5. They've got most everybody has signed on back, including they're bringing back I forget what his name was, but they're bringing back Benny's actor. I don't think Benny himself is necessarily making a comeback, but they might find another role for that guy. Goodbye, Benny. That guy's very comedic chops. He was very funny in Van Helsing as well. Anyway, so basically, the Wright brothers, obviously have the power to summon forth the Wright Flyer as is preserved in history. They can also make any airplane the next Wright Flyer. And then also, they can just manufacture a new Wright Flyer to match the specifications of any other, flying vehicle. They could even weaponize it because they did use with the U.S. Army. The mystery of whatever they produce is not going to match, creations from the Age of Gods. It's not going to be like a 1v1 with, like, Gil or Arjuna alters like Vimanas and stuff. They're flying chariots. But it will be still a pretty good machine because they are the guys who invented the aeroplane, invented the modern control system. Additionally, like I said, I talk about some Kitty Hawk stuff. Because they built their own wind tunnels to do testing and obviously selected Kitty Hawk for the winds, they can also produce, magical bursts of wind using their energy to increase their speed or to buffet enemies, trying to fly with them and stuff. But the machines are powered by their own magical energy, so it limits their flight time. I imagine that, like, functionally in FGO, this would probably work very similar to something like, speaking of, like, Da Vinci driving the Shadow Border, right? Like, just, like, the shot is, them taking off of Kill Devil Hills and, like, flying the flyer, like, through the enemy for, like, an AoE damage. With some buffs to the team. I think it should be a team support buff.
Yeah.
Maybe some crit ups, maybe some quick ups, something like that. And then the shot would be, like, the shot of, the flyer, sailing out over the sky kind of a thing. But in lore, this is technically the ability to basically, like, using magical energy and their mechanical skill, reproduce any airplane and dub it the next Wright Flyer, or take over any pre-existing airplane and say it's the next Wright Flyer, and just have the Noble Phantasm that is, like, the concept of the aeroplane. Because I think that would be pretty neato. And like I said, it could go to space. Ohio did also put I assume, Neil Armstrong on their state quarter. And we did talk about the Mars thing. We could get a little spacey. Maybe they could have spacesuits as an ascension. Like I said, I was thinking just pure, like, steampunkification. But especially because spaceflight capable is a trait, pioneered to the stars, just be like, fuck it, we're going to space. Space planes exist. Are they aeroplanes? Not really, but they're kind of like airplanes. Now just imagining, a fate writing scenario comes up where we're like, Wright brothers, we need you to fly the space shuttle. Cracks knuckles, removes bowler hat, puts on space helmet. But yeah, this is another one that, like, I don't actually know about, like, a rights issue. I know that, like, that's why FGO has to be careful sometimes in some of our more modern servants. This is probably why learning with mangas, characters got rolled into Super Bunyan, because that would, for starters, I'm pretty sure George Méliès has, like, existing estate that could possibly are recent enough that they might be able to take umbrage with depictions. I don't know where the Wright brothers are at. Like I said, they had no children of their own, though they did have a fair number of siblings. But I think it's neat. I think they fit into a very relatively pre-established niche, which is, inventors. And, like, if fucking Thomas Edison can have a lion head and produce mechanical soldiers, and Nikola Tesla can shoot lightning out of his hands, like, the Wright brothers can show up and can fly planes. And they can probably do lots of other plane-based things. Obviously, I think them driving bicycles into people would be pretty funny, but, like, imagine them throwing, like, paper planes or little glider toys at people. Imagine the little helicopter toy comes back, like, as, like, an attack animation. They send it like a little drone. Like, there's a lot of whimsy you could have with these guys, but also I think they are, a pretty interesting duo we could integrate. And we do also have these whole traits for, like, dual servants, team servants, shit like that. And honestly, I think they'd get along with a lot of the Chaldea gang. Not just Da Vinci, obviously, but also, they would probably know of Edison and Tesla. They might hang out with some other guys. They probably think Voyager is neat.
They probably get a kick out of Nemo.
Yeah, no, I think Nemo would be a fun one. Chat mentioned this earlier, so I am stealing it. But also, Summer Melu specifically is, like, very funnily aviation based, with her ferry pack and stuff, and her NP being a literal launch sequence off the Nautilus as a carrier. So, like, that would be pretty cool. There's a lot of rich history to do, and that is your Fanservant Friday. A reminder, you can support us on Patreon at the $5 and higher level to vote in the poll. It's open all month. It's up now already. I think I put it up early last week. Like, I was on par with that. And that's what it is. And after about trace hours, that would mean that we are out of free talk, and we are in What's Up. And let me close some tabs. So we have a few things we can talk about in What's Up. Most of them are notes I started last week because, like I said, not necessarily my sleep schedule, but my energy levels have been all over the place. It's weird, by the way, because I've gotten new cooler sheets and, like, got new pillowcases and pillows and stuff. So, like, I think I'm sleeping a lot better, but I'm tired. More energies.
It might just be the summer.
It does suck. Like, I had to very slightly, but delay movie night tonight because I had to feed the cats. I've been taking care of a couple of chores. That was okay today. Yesterday, I had to go out. We feed them on the back patio now because it makes them have to exercise more. It's at the far end of the house. I went onto the back patio, though. It's screened in, right? So it's, like, technically open air. It's shaded, but even shaded and covered walkway, I went out there at, like, 7:30 at night. It fucking sucked. It was like stepping into a sauna. I think I looked this up later, but, like, my weather app has said at several points this week, feels like 101 degrees because the humidity is fucking terrible. So, like, it could just be the summer is kicking my ass. Like, there are wildfires out there, and I did mention that I am very sensitive to smoke. There's a lot of heat out there. There's all kinds of plant life trying to fucking live and probably not living. Talk about, like, hay fever and hay allergies, right? Well, that's as the hay, dries up and dies off is when it becomes hay. So, like, it's a little cracked. It's been raining a little bit, but not a lot. So that could just be what's kicking my ass. But, like, this week I haven't done a whole hell of a lot out of the ordinary. I've been trying to keep up a little bit with my own Dawntrail World Tour, and we've done a decent amount of 14. We've been 14 in it, okay. I've not hit the North Horn as much as you guys, but I have both in a group and on my own, been checking it out. So I'm not like super behind, but I have had some times where I'm just like, nah, I don't got the juice. So I've mostly been reading, watching. I've gotten onto watching Ghost in the Shell second gig, and as a result of that, doing a little bit of writing. Been still working on the next block of Jack of All Trades, and then trying to formulate the next story. Maybe I should post those somewhere because it is semi-episodic.
I think they're pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know if you've been. I know you usually like to wait until I finish a section, but I don't know if you've been checking up on section 8, which is where I'm at right now. But
oh, I have not.
It's fun. I switched the POV because I really felt like it to a different character. But it's because I'm setting up a character who's going to be looped into the story later. But it is one of the blades, main gauche.
Oh, main gauche.
So I get to do some funny background cracks about what the blades get up to. At one point, I talk about how everybody has a different specialty, and I'm sure it puts a smile on your face to be like Claymore for wide area destruction.
I love Claymore so much.
Yeah. But yes, I have been like I said, that's kind of my phase of just, I read stuff, I watch stuff, I write a little. Sometimes I get my 14 in. But I have been talking a lot, and I have not myself gotten to check it out. But it was a free game that I have downloaded, is on my radar. You have been playing a lot of Rise of the Ronin.
Yeah, I do want to say this. I always get a self-esteem boost when I hear that Omega has written about one of my characters in some of his fiction. I'm all like, yeah, I'm that guy. Gives me joy.
It's a fun one, and it works for backstory stuff. I think I've alluded to the group's antics a couple of times because canonically. Because if you want to know more about Claymore and the Singularity War, check out our actual plays on the channel now, both the original Sprawl and Genesis Edit flavor. But canonically, Jack of All Trades takes place in the time skip between when we're doing the Sprawl and then when we started on Genesis. That's another thing, actually, I did as a joke. Rapier is briefly in it, and she talks about how she already has a bodyguarding insurance gig, a.k.a. she's looking after the comatose Claymore as they rebuild him from a brain in a jar. But yes, we have fun. But yes, Rise of the Ronin. According to PlayStation, we're 75% complete, so I'm eager to hear what that sounds like.
Yeah. So, for a bit of background information, Rise of the Ronin is... Oh, God, how... It only came out... came out a couple years ago. I think it was 2024? It's the past couple years. I know it wasn't last year, so probably 2024. Basically, another title by the illustrious Team Ninja. I was interested in the game. I like Team Ninja work. I do love, Ninja Gaiden and Neo, and I wanted to give it a run. I also liked Wulong, but not Wulong, Wolong. But it was, I had one bad experience and I said, fuck this game. Oh, fuck that game.
You gotta be careful about them action games.
Yeah.
Also, yes, you are correct. It was 2024. I actually thought it was last year, but no, it's 2 years.
2 years.
And I think the reason why it ended up on PS Plus eventually was it was co-published by Sony.
Yes. I originally thought it was like a Sony first published. No, it also comes out on other things. It's just, I always remember seeing the fucking trailers for PlayStation.
It is console exclusive to the PlayStation 5. It is also on Windows.
Yes. Now, this being Team Ninja, it is a somewhat technical game. For better and for worse. Combat can get quite involved. But before I get into all that, I think I want to talk a little bit about the setting. Rise of the Ronin is set in mid 1800s Japan. Very specifically, the time of the Black Ships. I actually don't know what that specific area of time is called.
It might just be talk about the Black Ships, because it is kind of a transitional period.
It is a transitional period, but there was a lot of pivotal events that happened at this time, from the Black Ships arriving to the fall of the shogunate and the actual Meiji Restoration. But I don't know if there's actually actually, let me look this up real quick.
Go for it.
Black Ships.
We do look it up.
Japan called era before the Meiji Restoration. let's see, it was still called the Edo period up until then. It's like, I guess it's the end of the Edo period, I suppose. Is there a term for this? Well, I guess the Boshin War is probably the best way to refer to it. So it takes place basically during the Boshin War. And basically, after the black ships arrive with Commodore Perry and strong arm Japan into opening its borders, a lot of foreigners started flooding into Japan, and kind of it upset a balance, a very precarious balance. And the events that followed afterward would change the landscape of Japan forever. And it's very, very fun. There are many, many interesting characters from this area. Several of them which are in FGO. And it's quite fun running into them. Lucky started playing the game. It starts off interesting enough. You play basically one of two characters who are veiled twins, basically shadowy assassins that work in pairs, who've been brought up by a secret order that opposes the shogunate. You get secret orders to steal orders from Commodore Perry, and if you can, assassinate them. Yes, you get to fight Commodore Perry on a black ship.
Does he have boss subtitles?
No, he does not have boss subtitles, unfortunately.
Does he have boss titles at least?
No, not really. He's just Commodore Perry.
He just kind of shows up. Okay, it's that style.
He's there, but it's funny. He talks
still,
like
that's a different subtle notion for you to just be minding your own business than a guy's just like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? And then you just see the health bar and it says Commodore Perry.
He is a character. He's talking about, yes, I'm going to hunt this great whale and stuff. So he talks like a boss character at the very least. But, you basically fight Commodore Perry on your ship as like part of your intro level. And then more stuff happens, which I'm not gonna get into, but you end up on a journey to find your missing Blade Twin who went missing after, the events with on the black ship. And end up in Yokohama, where through a weird series of coincidences, you meet up with kind of a himbo samurai who ran away from the Tosa clan. Hey guys, that's Sakamoto Ryoma right there. And it's the story so far is while you're looking for your veiled twin, you hang out with Sakamoto Ryoma and the eclectic cast of this this period drama. I've run into Takasugi, Izo, Katsui. I've just seen the formation of the Shinsengumi from the Roshingumi. Saw Yorinobu Tokugawa, like all sorts of names that I didn't actually understand. It actually gave me realizing that I don't actually know a lot about this era from Japanese history. Like, I love Japan and Japanese history, but since Lucky is so bad about retaining information and facts, I don't generally study. I try to get try and get a general understanding and vibe so I can, say I understand what happened.
Honestly, all history is complex, but I feel like a lot of these kind of like flashpoint Japanese moments, like whether it's the Warring States or the Boshin War and the bits, like there are a lot of moving parts that are very, very complicated and interrelated. I've done a couple of deep dives to Wright Wanteds, obviously, and like while you see a rotating cast of familiar faces, you will also see a lot of shit where you're just like, and then who the fuck are these guys? Where do these guys come from? I haven't run into these guys before, so like I understand totally that like it's interesting, but also I understand missing people because you never know when you're missing like a piece.
Yeah, no, it actually made me like I think I mentioned this, I actually went on looking. It's all like, okay, wait, why did Japan, the U.S. want to open up Japan for trade? And I learned it wasn't actually for trade; it was actually two completely different reasons. Well, one of them I kind of knew. One was for whaling, but not like whaling. The U.S. basically wanted a port in the Pacific that wasn't China or Korea, to have a coal refueling station on. Because guess what? Whale hunting was super fucking profitable. Everyone loves blubber and ambergris.
Yeah, until modern industrial supplements came along. Whale hunting, not mostly for the meat, though that was a byproduct. It was for all the other shit.
Yeah.
Baleen, whalebone, the blubber, and the ambergris are like types of... I mean, let's put it this way, chat. Where else are you going to find the amount of fat that you will find in a whale?
Yeah, not many other places. But the other reason I actually learned is actually more interesting. Believe it or not, Commodore Perry's was not the first attempt to try and open Japan. His attempt was actually the fourth attempt to do it, and which is one of the reasons why he took such an aggressive stance towards the Japanese. Because
American
another
attempts or
American attempts, yes.
Yes, I understand. Yes. If there's one thing that bothers an American more than being told not to do something, it's being told not to do it repeatedly.
And it wasn't just that. The U.S. wanted to open Japan because they wanted them to actually properly look over shipwrecked sailors. Ship accidents were actually fairly more common, but people did survive. I recall counting at least 2 events where U.S. sailors washed up on Japan soil, and for all intents and purposes were treated like basic criminals until they can be deported using West Indies ships. So having to take the long way home. And Japan was all like, not Japan, the U.S. was like, can we not do that? And Japan says, fuck you, stay out. And so the U.S. was just kind of like...
The isolationism of Japan is very interesting, but like it's very funny that they kind of like overstayed their welcome, basically, which is because like at this point, by that period, most seafaring cultures had kind of clocked onto like some bare minimums of like,
yeah,
okay, all right. So it's the hospitality trick, which is just like, all right, okay, if we want people to take care of our sailors who get shipwrecked doing this very dangerous but very important business, we need to take care of their guys, so we'll just all agree to do it. And then the Japanese are like, no, the country is closed. And then it's just like, well, shit. Also, yes, if you're, it's not the same time period, but it's the same vibes. If you did watch the miniseries Shogun or have read the novel Shogun, which is based on real life experiences, the English and Dutch sailors being like, thrown in pits, and like, I think one of them is executed by boiling him in a pot, like as a criminal for intruding. Not that outlandish. The Japanese were very serious about their closed borders.
Yes. But, and they, like I said, and the Japanese shogunate was actually very standoffish to the U.S. previous attempts. So Commodore Perry was basically like, no, until I get like some guarantees that my message is going to get through, I'm going to be kind of a pain in the ass. And he was, Commodore Perry, while he did not necessarily start any conflicts, I do believe he did some harassments. I believe like at one point he shot off, empty cannons and hit the port just to, freak people out and stuff, and made it very clear that if, any aggression was returned to him, he would return it in force. And so he basically strong-armed the Japanese into, accepting, his terms. Now, while this did have what I would consider the positive effect of opening Japan's borders, unfortunately, how do I want to put this? Once sharks smell blood in the water, they swarm. Basically, once the U.S. got the Treaty of Amity opened up, basically the British, the French, and I think the Russians? Was it the Russians?
Probably. They were off the coast, too.
Yeah, basically all swarmed in and started making demands of Japan to, make treaties with them. Japan got very overwhelmed very quickly, and the shogunate was not ever able to properly respond before a lot of foreigners started, setting up shop. And we were actually talking about this in Rain, when one culture clashes with another culture, shit happens.
Yeah, you get tension. And you see that very clearly because it's very interesting that, like, on the one hand, all right, like, the Meiji Restoration and the Meiji Revolution is, like, Japan whips into modernization honestly pretty fast. Like
20 years. It took them 20 years to modernize.
Once they had access to the stuff, they were like, okay, let's rock. But a lot of, people might think that's very progressive, but a lot of that was actually backed on social conservatism, because the idea that started going around, that started a lot of these projects, was, the phrase, restore the emperor, repel the barbarians, right? It's like,
yes,
okay, the shogunate's not doing shit. We need to put the emperor back on the throne, and we need to get these guys out of here.
And it wasn't like, again, the initial thing wasn't trade. honestly, the thing with trade with Japan was actually fairly even keel. There were some bad business practices. There was like a lot of corruption and bribery in there. But honestly, one of the things that really fucked over Japan is that the Americans brought over cholera. They brought over the cholera epidemic.
The old contact problem.
Yes. So a lot of Japanese started getting very sick, and guess what? The shogunate couldn't do a lot about it. So we basically, because of the West's forceful intervention in the policy of Japan's and the shogunate's inability to properly respond to it, basically the end of the Edo period was a hotbed of strife in various ways. And this game, Rise of the Ronin, puts you in the middle of it, which honestly I kind of like, because I really haven't had a game where I got to be kind of in the passenger seat for this story.
Yeah, there's obviously Like a Dragon Ishin, but also that's a Yakuza drama dressed up as a fucking
but
how should I say this? It's
Shinsengumi
also
drama.
you're not a passenger. Like they go out of their way to make Kiryu multiple guys in history. They do shenanigans to make you extra guys in history. Whereas Rise of the Ronin being kind of the OC Do Not Steal, lets it open so that you can actually witness events, be part of them, but not necessarily. I mean, you still get to shape them, but not shape them, that way. Yeah.
So you can choose sides in this game. You can usually choose the anti-shogunate or the pro-shogunate side and influence events in either direction. I don't know if we're going to actually go into alt history here. It does seem that, the timelines reconverge at certain points. Mm-hmm. And like I said, and you don't necessarily go super hard on one side. This is the one thing I like about Sakamoto Ryoma in this game. Like I said, he's kind of a himbo. He's not very smart, but he's good with a sword and a pistol, and he wants to make Japan better. And he doesn't want to kill everyone to do it.
Actually, no, I think I've talked about this in a while, and I think we've talked about it in Guda Gudas before. Sakamoto Ryoma is a great guy. His assassination is a terrible shame because he was a brilliant organizer, right? He was good at getting people together and getting groups rolling. And he seemed very good-natured, but also, yeah, like you said, he doesn't want to just kill everybody to get his job done. And actually, despite America kind of putting them in this position, I believe when talking about, when studying, trying to figure out a new constitution for Japan and stuff, he studied the American style because, we've goofed some stuff up lately, but, America is actually quite a striking story, kind of like rags to riches. We are a colonial entry that decided to not just break away from our monarchy, but also hey guys, we're gonna take a crack at a form of government that hasn't been tried in a while. We're gonna get out there and swing and form a republic, a democratic republic, and figure it out.
Yeah. So one of your constant companions is Sakamoto Ryoma, who kind of goes back and forth, from the pro-shogunate to the anti-shogunate side. As he sees the value of both. He's all like, yeah, no, the shogunate ain't doing great, but if we just, get rid of the shogunate, what happens then? What happens in the future?
Oh,
it's what is the future that we...
The power vacuum.
Yeah.
If you destroy the shogunate, what do you do? New Sengoku period?
And, that's the thing, the anti-shogunate's just no, we have to get rid of the shogunate. They don't care about the little people. Burn it to the ground. There are several missions you go down where you are just burning down Western buildings. And they're like, yes, this is how we'll take back Japan. And Rome's just we're just killing people. And, when you're doing pro-shogunate missions, that's usually suppressing other people. It's no, things must stay as they are. And you're just but this doesn't help anybody. And you're along with Roma as you do this journey back and forth. And I think it's great. So yeah, even though you can play, pick a side and stuff, you the game, makes you weave and back. And something that I love here is it's, there are several missions where you'll fight enemies from the other side. You very rarely kill them. You just kind of beat them up and they go away. But then you can go to their base just and hey man, what you did wasn't cool, man. Anyway, what's up? Everyone just completely played.
It's funny. I guess this was a revolution of gameplay design in 2024 that we're just late to the party to because we're so busy. Because this is, You're describing some of the parts we like about Outlaws, which is just like, oh yeah, no, the underworld doesn't have time for this shit. Okay,
Mhm.
you do a couple jobs, they'll be fine. Try not to kill people.
Yeah. So so the faction thing is interesting. The faction thing isn't, though, as I would say in depth as I would like it to be. I still don't fully understand it. Basically, it's an open world game and everything's like divided into districts and whatnot. And you can go do side objectives in districts to clear it up, increase your bond with it, and get, little bonuses from it. Generally, an area will start with a particular leaning toward one faction or the other, but as you do objectives and clears the bond, it goes to a neutral state where it doesn't favor anyone and just stays that way. Once the faction bonus is gone from it, it doesn't come back. And you can do this to the entire area, clearing it 100%, and it's just kind of null. I was actually kind of hoping when I played this that there'd be a little bit more pushback. Factions could get stronger, factions could get weaker, you have to actually influence battles between the factions. That doesn't really happen. Like I said, I feel like it was a bit of a missed opportunity because I'm basically just going through the motions of just clearing a zone and forgetting about it now. It's like I'm marking things off the checklist, which I don't hate. Like I said, we have the open world checklist of things to do, and there's several of them. Let me see. Actually, I have the game open right now. Let me look at the collection right here. You have to find checkpoints, take out enemy bases, kill special enemies, look at cool Japanese locations, pray at shrines, find cats. I love finding cats, by the way. Open treasure chests, do usually some sort of special activity like gliding, archery, fire background, and take, scenic photographs. Get your selfies in. All those things happen in relatively small areas, and as you increase the bond, the game will just tell you where to find them, and it's usually not hard to get to them. So it's usually click there, and usually you get to maybe see some cool scenery. You find a silly cat. You get some cool things out of a treasure chest. Doesn't take that long. But then once you're done with the area. Sometimes completing an area will let you unlock a mission from an NPC in there that you couldn't before, but usually it's not much. It is important to complete these districts though, because the completion rewards usually gives you a stat point of some kind, and some stat points are rarer than the others, which will bring me to my next talk about this system. So Team Ninja, which has done, Ninja Gaiden and Neo and other Souls adjacent type action RPGs, isn't afraid to be a little weird with their system sometimes. And Rise of the Ronin is definitely in that category of weird. So you basically have 2 XP bars. One is your Ronin level, which just, you get experience and grind goes up when you increase your player level. Mine's currently 45 right now. You usually get a skill point and some base stats increase. I believe it's your health, attack, secondary attack, maybe your key. I don't know. But you always will have numbers that go up, which gives you a very definite plane of growth.
We like number get bigger.
We like number get bigger. You don't necessarily have to worry about a build. You don't have to worry about specific numbers. It's like you increase your player level, numbers go up, you get tougher and stronger. It's good. Then you have the karma level. The karma level is much more Souls-like. It fills up as you kill enemies, and if you fill it up and take it to a Veiled Banner, which is a checkpoint, you will drop it to 0 and you will get a stat point. If you are killed before you can drop off the karma, you lose all the karma, and instead a vendetta is made, in which basically you have to either kill or get a critical hit against the enemy that just killed you to get your karma back. What karma does, much like player level, is also give you stat points. Stat points are basically broken into 4 categories. You have strength, dexterity, intellect, and charm. Basically, all those categories are a bunch of skills. Those skills cost stat points, and they're filled up with all the little things that you might expect from a stat. Like in strength, you have moves to increase your health, moves to make your attack stronger when you're low on health, increase things like that. Combat stuff. Dexterity is about assassinations, doing stuff with your grappling hook. You get a grappling hook, by the way. Doing stuff with shuriken, earthenware jars, archery. Actually, no, we actually have titles here. Actually, let me read them out here. Strength has skills dealing with the counter smart, critical hits, sturdiness, intimidation, martial arts, and upgrade combat style. Dexterity has skills for ninjutsu, assassination, grappling rope, archery, shuriken, and earthenware balls. Charm has skills for blade flash, fortune, upgrade allies, ally support, worthy, and evil doing. And intellect has skills for healing art, rifle, handgun, business acumen, drug, and status ailment. And each skill has like 3 or 4 entries that could have up to like 1 to 5 each levels in it. And basically, you spend stat points. Some of them the general's stat skills. Some of them rare individual and like specifically int stat points to buy these skills. As you buy these skills, like every 2 or so, you increase that stat. So if I have, let's say, 90 dex and I buy 2 skills in archery, my dex will go up to 91. And in increasing my dex to 91, that then affects the dex-based stats, which are, hang on, what is it here? My secondary attack and stagger. So while you do not have like to go like so hard on a build, what stats you invest in early can shape how you play the game. Like I started very dex based very quickly because I like ninjutsu and I like shooting people with pistols and rifles. And for a while there, it was very good. I believe my dex skill tree filled out much faster than all the other ones. The problem though is when you get later in the trees, more skills require the special ones, and the rare skill stat points are harder to get. You do not generally get them just from leveling up. You usually have to do some sort of special tasks. For example, like if you want to find more charm stat points, generally you have to find cats, because if you find cats, you can spend silver coins at a specific trader to buy treaties on charm, which number is limited by how many cats you found. With dexterity, it's a lot of winning duels in dojos. With strength, it's finding fugitives. And with intellect, it is usually doing photographs. And there's other ways, but I'll get into that later. So while leveling up your karma and your player level is a good way to get stat points, it is not the best way to get them. So you actually have to engage with the world quite often, doing little stuff here and there to get into it. Another way that you can get those stat points is through bonds, which is something that I really like in this game. And basically, as you meet characters in the game, you will form bonds with them, reaching levels like 1 through 4, much like how you can reach bonds with districts. As you increase your bond with them, either by hanging out with them, saying things you like, or taking them with you to, kill a bunch of dudes, you'll increase your bond with them, and it'll give you rewards at each tier. A lot of the times the rewards are, items, gear, usually a stat point at the end. Sometimes it's an upgrade. Maybe sometimes it's a skill specific upgrade. Like some of them will let you like breathe underwater longer. Some of them make medicine more efficient, stuff like that. But generally the very last one or a couple of them will have a stat point in there. So you want to, be hanging out with people and getting to know them so you can slurp up all their sweet, sweet points. Another thing you can learn from the bonds, though, is combat styles, which I think is probably the meat of the combat system in Rise of the Ronin. Because Team Ninja.
So just I'm been sitting back to myself, yes, but so we love progression systems, but it seems like they've got a pretty good way to kind of like do something that I know about, which is prevent the soul's fatigue of like, okay, so no matter what you do, you're going to get some basic level ups for a little bit of stuff. Yes. And then you have a progression system, like you said, which is you can use the karma to get skill points. And kind of like that lets you do more of the action RPG, massage your build type stuff. Feels familiar to a Dark Souls, but also like there's only 4 stat groups, so it's not like as complex as those can be. It's hard to say one of those 4 things you named is like a dump stat, right? Whereas like if you're playing an actual Souls, like it can be like, yeah, if you're not doing magic, you don't need this fucking stat.
No, they're all important in some way.
But
And
then
like
you're
I
also,
said-
we've got the stuff that Team Ninja's known for, which is, hey, this is a fucking action game.
This is an action game. So there are a lot of weapons in this game. Actually, hang on. Let me pull out the weapons here. Hang on 1 second here.
I've had this. I think actually I might have had Rise of the Ronin downloaded longer than I saw Lucky playing, and it's just I have not gotten around to it yet because I do want to work a little on my backlog and work on Outlaws, and I have some stuff to say. But like, this is definitely making me. Like I said, I have not been playing games a lot this week, other than a decent amount of 14 time. This is making me go, yeah, I need to clock in some time. I need to wrap up Outlaws and move on a little.
Now, so I'm gonna read off all the weapons you can use here. Unarmed. Yes, by the way, you can play this game completely unarmed, and it is fucking valid. I have fought a lot of dudes, and it works. It's kind of crazy. So unarmed, katana, spear, paired swords, odachi, saber, like a European saber. Just keep that in mind. Polearm, bayonet, great sword, oxtail blade. It is one of the most hilarious things I always see, but you can fight like US and British soldiers in this game, and sometimes they just have a great sword strapped to their back, and they're just like, wait a minute.
They're just like, hello.
Me, because I love guns, have been running with the bayonet, and it's fun. It's literally just a rifle with a knife strapped on the end, but I stab people with it, and then sometimes shoot them.
I mean, that is actually how a bayonet works. It's like it's either a knife, a dagger, a fighting knife, or it is a spear. But your spear is also a gun.
Yes, no, there are several finishes I do where I stab someone and then shoot them. I'm like, yes, this is the way.
Actually, that's great. I love that's. Obviously, these days bayonets are not super critical, but I do understand why. Like there are still like there are funny or like over the top sci-fi franchises like 40K and like almost said Lancer. That's the name of the gun in Gears of War. Like Gears of War with like their chainsaw bayonets. Like there's people who realize that like okay, but sometimes you're out of bullet and need to hit man close. What do we do? And sometimes it's a chainsaw.
Sometimes it's a chainsaw. But right now I'm just going katana and bayonet, because as always you can usually have 2 primary weapons and 2 secondary weapons that you can switch through in combat, and it's pretty fun. There's actually skills for like doing attacks when you switch and stuff. Adds a lot of ebb and flow to combat, but it's not perfect. I'll get into that in a little bit. But each of those are just the weapons. Each of those weapons has combat styles. Let's see here. Basically, combat styles are basically how you attack and basically defend yourself and what specific skills you can use. Each weapon has at least 3, generally of one of each, type. Usually first one is the, Mumio Ryo, which is your starting one, which you get for just being a veiled. And then you can usually discover a few, from, either fighting people, learning from people, other such things. Unarmed is the only one that doesn't have any, but it's just fist. It's kind of great. I do wish maybe there was a little bit more style. You do run into a few other characters who used unarmed, and you can learn some like techniques from them, but it's not a lot. But like I said, they pull actually from a lot of actual sword schools. Like you can learn Hokushin Inten-ryu, Tatsumi-ryu, Shinto Munin-ryu, Jigen-ryu, Yagyu, Shinkage-ryu, Tenin, Rishin-ryu, Muga-ryu. There are some fake ones in here. We got fucking Hayabusa-ryu, which is, Ninja Gaiden. We also have Neo-ryu, which is, Neo.
Yeah. You gotta throw some references in there.
Yeah, but like the spear ones have like Hozuin-ryu, you have Niten Ichin-ryu with like pull swords. Like there's a lot of combat styles in here, and each of them are distinctly different. You hold the blade different, you counter spark differently, and they all have unique different skills that you all do different stuff. The one thing that they probably all have in the same and each combat style gets bonus stats. It's better depending on using 2 of the 4 stats.
Mm-hmm.
The higher the rank is, the more, bonuses you get out of stats. Where is it? Here. Bayonets, I get, Mumoryu, Kihei Tai style, because, we can't have Roma here without his friend, Takasugi and his thing. He still has the fucking shamisen. They're pretty on ball with that. But you can also get, French training and British training. The Mumaru is a Jin style, which is based off of Dex and Int. The Kiheitai style is a 10 group, which is based off of Dex and Charisma. French training is a Chi style based off of Dex and Charisma as well. And the British one is a Chi style based off of Dex and Int. Basically what the Jin, 10, and Chi style is basically you're playing rock, paper, scissors with enemy weapons.
Yeah. No,
I can't remember.
What are the translations? G10 Chi. I think those are also the name of the starter hand signs in Ninja in 14.
I believe so, yes.
Like it's a recurring motif that I don't know the origin of, but yeah, no, you got the classic. Okay, so you got the weapon triangle, except it's not a triangle because it's shaped like rock paper lizard Spock.
Yeah, no, it's like based against weapons, but like I said, you always generally get one of each in each weapon, and you can always equip 3 combat styles that you can switch in there. So you generally have what you need to face any weapon. You just got to be versatile enough to switch to it, maybe sometimes mid combat. And like I said, like a lot of the combat's hard, guys. I think it's hard. It's not undoable, it's not unbeatable, but it's fucking hard.
I mean, it is a Team Ninja game.
It is a Team Ninja game because, like a lot of these games, you have your health bar and then you have your key bar. Your enemy has a health bar and a key bar. Until you deplete that key bar, they're really good at not getting fucking hit. So you gotta kind of be on the attack all the time. The problem with this though is you run out of key super fucking fast and it does not come back. I've actually seen this when your key starts coming back, it's actually slow for a couple seconds and then actually fills at its normal rate. And if you take damage, you also lose key. So if a guy like gets you with like a multi-hit combo, you're going to run out of key without you actually doing anything. And then he's going to wind up a big super attack and slap your shit. It happens a lot. Mm-hmm. There's a katana one or was it Odachi? Actually both of them do it, I think. But what they like to do is they'll hit you with one quick attack, then do a bunch of really small quick attacks to deplete you of your key. And when you're there floundering like you're on the bridge of the fucking USS Enterprise, they'll do a big wind-up attack and then just slap your ass. Actually, that's a lie. Anytime they hit you, you're stumbling around like you're on the deck of the fucking Starship Enterprise. It kind of sucks.
You do gotta, okay. Yeah, you gotta sell it a little.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is not the case with the enemies. The enemies have super armor unless you can panic them, which generally happens when you counter spark. Counter spark is what happens when you hit triangle. You do a little flourish, and if you connect with an enemy attack during that flourish, you basically parry the attack. You parry the attack enough times, the enemy gets stunned for a couple seconds as they're panicked, and you get to slap the shit out of them. If you're able to deplete their key entirely here, they go into a down state, and then you can hit them with a critical attack for big damage. The good thing about this, though, is even if you haven't depleted their key, if you're getting off attacks and counterattacks on them, you will deplete their maximum key so that they are not able to go ham on you as much. The problem with this is unfortunately, again, they have way more health than you and way more key than you, so they're much able to recover. Also, they have way better ability movement than you. Fucking Takasugi can teleport. He literally can teleport. He will throw papers in the air and appear behind you. I don't know how he does this. It's fucking magic.
I didn't realize he was a fucking wizard.
He's a fucking wizard. I hate fighting guys with bayonets. Fighting gays with bayonets fucking sucks. They will always dodge roll, back roll, and fucking shoot me. So many fucking times. It is impossible to close with them. I hate it so much. But
and
yes,
that you don't get a back roll counter shoot as a bayonet.
Oh, you kind of do. It's not as cool though. Like if I had like better movement abilities, this probably wouldn't piss me off so much. But I do. I have to basically run at them and then swing at them. But like I said, the AI is good. You start swinging, they're like, nope, and they backflip and shoot me, and I'm like, ugh. And like I said, I'm bitching about the bayonets because they're the worst offenders, but most classes do this. Most of the classes have an ability to just, zero on your location, generally with an attack. And if you're not like primed and ready with the counter strike or the counter spark, or if you don't hit the counter spark quite right, you get got. You lose half your health. You have no key. You're floundering like a fish on the fucking deck of the ship. It's pretty bad. So you got to get real good at doing the counter spark. Otherwise, you're going to get your ass kind of slapped. There is blocking in this game. It's useless. I don't block. There's no reason to fucking block. I hate that the fucking block is here. It doesn't do anything. Yes, it stops you from taking damage, but you still lose ki. If you don't have any ki, if you have no ki, you can't attack. If you have no ki, you can't attack. You can't dodge. You can't do anything. So you're standing there losing your ability to do anything as you take no damage.
Yeah, that's sorry. Ooh. That's a very like Souls-like influence thing where like, you know, blocking consumes stamina, but also usually the way those games are formulated is like it can be a little more patient. You can do, you know, perfect parries into counter kills, you know, kind of a thing. And so shield blocking and other stuff like that can help.
Yeah, no. This is the thing that slightly annoys me.
As like a game design thing. I haven't played any Rise of the Ronin yet, but you know, I've seen some. You know, I've booted it up. I've seen the opening movie and stuff, and like it seems pretty cool. And you've described some very fun stuff going on in there. Sorry, I inhaled a little spit. As a general rule, though, like I get it for certain types of games, but this game did come out like 2 years ago. It always sucks when bad guys get to do cooler shit than you. Like,
trust me, the bad guys get
be way cooler than you.
Omega, they have a gender-bent Alexander Moreau in this game who uses a whip sword. I don't get a whip sword.
Hey, yo?
Yeah, no, her name is Alexandra Moreau, and she's a poisoner.
And she has a whip sword?
And she has a whip sword.
Who? Hold on, I have to be like, who published Soul Calibur? Whose nachos are we stealing? Soul Calibur. Developed solely by Bamco. Interesting. Well, you know, they haven't published a new game in forever, so...
Hang on, I'm going to post this picture because
does she happen to have white hair?
No, she doesn't. But, hang on, like I said, they're fairly realistic with characters here. I think the person probably the weirdest is probably Izo, who has stark white hair for some odd reason.
He's the killing machine. What the fuck? What? Huh?
No, we basically...
botanist?
Yes! It's Poison Ivy!
What? Like, I the design's not bad. It's just like, why did it make steampunk Poison Ivy?
I don't know, but it's crazy. She literally drugs you with like hypnotic drugs at one time, and you are compelled to do her orders.
Shit's whack.
Like I said, there's not a real Alexandra Moreau, so a lot of people are saying like this is just the gender bent of the adventurer Alexander Moreau, which I can see. But no, like. Actually, there's a lot of weapons that enemies get to use that I don't get to use. Hecking Saigo, the head of the Satsuma clan, gets like a fucking giant double headed like iron staff. There's some dudes out there who wield dual dachis. I'm just like, shit! There's some guys who can wield like sword and bayonet at the same time. No, there's some guys that got some style, but like I said, Takasugi gets to, it's not like part of his name, but he can just like throw fire bombs on the ground. It sucks a lot, because then he's usually following that up with an attack that will either hit you from afar or hit you when you get close, because you generally want to dodge, you know, giant fire bombs, generally.
Yes, correct.
Like I said, the AI in this game is brutal. It does not let up, which is one of the reasons why I say blocking is useless, because if you're blocking, you're losing ki, and if you're losing ki, that means you're not going to be able to do stuff. You're often served trying to either counter spark, which does, if you mess up the timing, it's high risk, high reward. If you're able to get off the blocks, you can take out a lot of their ki and leave them opening to a fairly powerful counter attack. But if you don't, you will get your shit rocked. Like I said, luckily, at least during the story, because you do have a actual level cure, you can over level yourself and get a bit of breathing room that way. So even if you're getting slapped a lot, your health isn't, depleting like it got a hole in the bottom of it. But it's still one of those things where you're like, I could be playing this game better, but I'm not, and I don't like that. Unfortunately, when you do, I've been doing dojo training because you can get, points for, you can get skill points in there. They kind of even out your stats, so you have to actually, get good. And I'm like, I am not good. I'm the opposite of good. I am bad. I say that I have, gotten master rank on several of them. Not even bayonets, though. I'm telling you right now, I'm still getting my ass kicked by bayonets. I don't know what to do. Actually, I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to fucking parry bullets. Yes, you can parry bullets in this game. It's actually pretty cool. When you parry a bullet, it sets your weapon on fire for a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. But, so, combat is tough. And like most games, it is not weighted in your favor. The enemy AI is very, very smart. They will actually, they have, set attacks they can use, but they will switch them up. They will switch from using one attack to a different, they could, do several attacks. They can do, 6 hits. They can do, start a combo, do 6 hits, a little while later, do only 4 hits, and then, finish off something else. Or they can, start a combo, see that you have escaped it, and just stop the combo and, try something else. It's, it's not dumb. It will get your ass. I don't necessarily hate it, because when the flow is good, the flow is good. But when the flow is bad, you fucking feel it. That's all I am out of key again, and this guy is glowing red. No, just, yeah, I'm dead. Goodbye, world.
I have no key, and I must, insert, Dark Souls You Died sound.
Yeah. So, like I said, I will honestly, the combat is fun, but because it's difficult, so I put that at a net 0, honestly, for the game.
I mean, if it's fun but hard, that is still a better position to be in, that can be a neutral position to, it's hard and also it sucks. It's difficult and I'm not having fun is that's a tough position to be in, A lot of games are broken on the back of that, so if it's
that reminds me.
I have fun, but also, it does kick my butt.
Also, fun fact, I ran into Ine Kusamoto in this game. I was like, I know her! Because that's the baby that Sigbo was carrying on his back during Dragon Castle.
Yeah.
And she talks about it's yeah, no, I got bullied a lot for my blue eyes. And you can be like, they're beautiful. There is romance in this game. You can have what is called a veiled vow and enter a romance with a character.
Okay, so I should have made my joke earlier when you were talking about bonds, about, it being a dating sim.
Kinda.
That's cool. I will say, that's a thing that, I feel like, obviously, I think, there are occasionally issues with that, but that is something that, certain games like Persona are, king at, is the kind of, picking your own romance partner. There's a couple of CRPGs, obviously, that are very strong in that regards. Mm-hmm. Rogue Trader, Baldur's Gate 3, stuff like that. But, that's definitely a thing where, some more games could stand to let you flex a little. Not just have, a romance subplot, but, hey, we got a shitload of characters you want to hang out. You want to smooch them? Want to smooch anybody?
I do like smooching. So I think what I was getting here is probably what I think is probably considered one of the weaker parts of the game is equipment. So in true Team Ninja fashion, they throw equipment at you. Throw it at you.
Okay.
Hundreds of it. And unfortunately, most of it's garbage. Most of it is fucking garbage. I have been using the fucking same pieces of equipment since level 20. I've just been upgrading them slowly over time because I don't want to deal with it. I really don't. I don't want to have to keep looking at things as is this better than the other? No, I'm sticking with my fucking I'm a goddamn ninja set and I'm going to be happy with it. I have to uptrade my weapons usually every once in a while because, like I said, that's not, like you said, it's good, but it's a lot of pain and dick. You get a lot of gear for not a lot of upgrades. Because, like most games, each weapon has, a rarity, and each rarity has so many modifiers to it. And the modifiers are fucking weird. They're just, you just get, you can get attack up at nighttime. Key consumption down for dodging, attack up after counter spark. Hecking, enemy counter duration up, max key attack, EXP acquisition.
This all the is that meme people made about RPG-esque mechanics and action games about God of War, but real of okay, that's cool, but I don't need all that shit, man. Is this katana good?
See, here's the thing that bugs me though. I wouldn't mind that so much if there was a way to actually properly craft and modify my weapon so I can get the stats that I want on them.
Yeah, but it's all it's I was gonna say looter shooter, that's incorrect. I think Axe had a better comparison. It's all Diablo loot porn shit. Of just dig through these 5,000 things, and I'm
No, because this is the thing I liked about Neo. Neo lets you generally craft your own equipment, and then you can swap out modifiers on them to what you like and what you need. It's not unlimited, but it does give you a level of flexibility in it so that you can generally get modifiers in the zones that you want. You can focus them, and usually to 4 or 5 things instead of the 20 things that I have going on right now. It's like, there's no sense of concentration or focus. It's just, you get what you get, live with it. And I'm just like, I don't want to live with it. I want it to die. Let it die. So, and that is a problem. Like, you do have an ability where you can transfer over one modifier over to an empty slot, but you don't get, like, weapons, like, with, like, a lot of empty slots. In my, like, I don't know how many hours I have found one weapon, and I think it was given to me. It was a wooden katana that has 5 empty slots. I have kept this fucking thing because I'm like, I'm gonna make this the greatest fucking wooden katana ever. It's great too. It's actually considered a non-lethal weapon. I can beat people up and they don't die. Which I do sometimes. I'm like, I'm not in the killing mood here. I'm just gonna ruin your fucking day. But it has 5 empty slots as an orange weapon. I'm just like, that's amazing. The problem with this though is that fucking non-lethal weapons like the wooden katana require wood to fucking upgrade, and wood is fucking hard to get because you can only get it from very specific things. So it's pain. It's pain. Ugh. So, yes, no, the loot system in Rise of the Ronin is not that great. This is, further exacerbated by, certain gear sets having, gears having, like, set bonuses. So you'll generally want specific gear if you want to do this. Like, I'm running the Shinobi style, surprise, surprise there. So, I generally want Shinobi things to keep going on here. So I just can't, swap out things just because they have better numbers, because I have to consider my build. I will say something that I do like, though, is they give you, like, 4 accessory slots. So you can put in some funny stuff there. They do got some funny stuff, though. What was I about to bitch about? I was about to be mad about something. Oh, I remember what I was about to be mad at. The thing I do think I think is bad about the equipment, though, is your sub-weapons. You get 2 primary weapons, which you can switch to, but you also get 2 sub-weapons. And your sub-weapons are generally your, you can have a rifle, a bow, a pistol, which, are pretty normal. But also you get a flamethrower. It's called the fire pipe. It shoots flames. I don't know why we put this in this game, but it's here.
Because who doesn't like to shoot fire?
Who doesn't like to shoot fire? But also, this is where you equip shurikens and the earthenware balls. The earthenware balls don't actually do damage. They're your rocks that you throw to distract enemies.
Oh,
there are some like options to turn into like flash bombs and fire bombs, but they're like consumable weapons. And I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like the fact that I have to give up, my pistol or my bow and my rifle to carry shurikens and rocks. It's like, I feel like these should have been something that had been put in the item bar and stuff.
That's, I think, something that I think, like, that ironically, like Dark Souls, I think it's been a little bit since I've been trying to play Neo, but I think that actually is like another thing as well in there is you had a broad wealth of slots you can fill from your active inventory in the level with like stuff, and usually like if you want to carry like pebbles, like that's just a free item slot you could swap to. We don't take that out of your consumable weapon selections.
No, so like it's strange. I don't like it. It's very weird to me. You do get like stat bonuses for equipping them, which tells me that fucking Team Ninja saw this and was like, oh yeah, no, we're kind of gimping you if you have to actually equip this. Have some stat bonuses to make it slightly better. I'm just like, yep. Because I'm gonna be real. Do you know what's really great? What's really great in combat is to shoot them from like, 3 blocks down the road with my fucking rifle. Trust me, shooting people in the head is still an effective tactic. Running around blasting my, hip firing my pistol when I'm trying to, put some distance between a guy who's about to get real mad at me. Also a great tactic. But because you can't switch weapons in combat, and also if you could, it'd be a pain in the ass to go through all these menus, I can't necessarily pull out fire bombs or my shuriken when, one of my other things have run out. It's one of the things I always liked about Neo, about like having, the ninjutsu and Amyodo tools, on the side, not actually part of your kit. You actually had to like equip them like in your item slot that you had to swap between with like your healing and your stat boosting items. Yeah, it actually made me feel like I had like I had a bag of tricks. I like having a bag of tricks.
Would you like having a bag of tricks? Actually, shit. Did you? Were you there when we did Big Trouble in Little China?
No.
That's a shame because you would have liked that movie. I think in general because of how.
I've seen Big Trouble in Little China. No problem.
No, but like I'm thinking of Egg Shen's 6 demon bag. Terrific. What's in it, Egg? Wind, fire, all that kind of thing. Fantastic. Like, yeah, no, that'd be pretty good. I'd love a 6 demon bag. Sounds like it's got at least 6 demons in it. And I've actually that's a point I don't think it's been explicit yet. But you said earlier they're only kind of doing alt history stuff. I assume other than characters having anime powers, like, there's no magic in it.
No.
Like,
there is maybe a little bit of supernatural. I think I might have got thanked by a ghost girl once. There's a mysterious white wolf that can summon lightning on its foes. I don't know what's up with that.
That's definitely a wandering kami.
Listen, it's nice. It's nice. It shows me treasures. Sometimes we beat up dudes, and when we get done, it lets me pet it. Who doesn't want to pet a giant white fluffy dog?
Hell yeah, cool wolf. But yeah,
Cool
so
wolf.
like they're obviously like, and folklore is very. I mean, folklore is tied in everywhere, but I think there are some cultures that are more standoffish with their folklore. Like in Japan, the folklore vibes are very strong, you know, because of cultural preservation, and you already have me doing shit like visiting shrines. So like a little bit of spookum is understandable, but like we already talked about like the hand signs. Like you can't ninjutsu weave and like, you know, throw some fuma shurikens and like summon a frog or anything.
No, your ninjutsu is very basic. You can throw shuriken and you get real good at stabbing people in the back. That's all I need sometimes. I'm gonna be real.
I mean, it's funny that like ninja has been like upgraded into like wizard, and yes, there were stories of them having supernatural powers, but like the actual historical precedent we have for like shinobi manuals and stuff are pretty simple. They are like, you know, sneaking, explosives, poisons, disguises, you know, like the what we understood that they did was mostly they just blended into the environment and used tools people wouldn't think of. Like, I think one of my favorite stories is that, like, the kunai is probably an evolution of a weaponized trowel for gardening. Like, that's why it's spade-shaped. They were originally tiny hand shovels, and then some guy said, what if we just whittle this down into a knife? You know, the like, supernatural embellishments I think came, like, way later in, like, no theater and stuff, right?
Oh, yeah, like, theater, you gotta get theatrical for theater. What you do.
Well, and also theater is where the black pajamas trope comes from, because that was, I think that's not an anachronism, is the idea that, like, occasionally when you did the assassination scene, you would have the guys who were dressed up like the stagehands, you know, suddenly draw prop weapons and throw down, and so you would be like, whoa, those guys were hiding the whole time. Obviously, you could see them, but you wouldn't be able to tell they weren't stagehands until they get real. You shouldn't actually wear black pajamas. It's, wear, dark non-black colors. Gray or blue is usually best, but you can get away with a deep red. Sorry, stretching my back a little.
Yep. So
your tricksiness is a little more limited than, say, a Neo. This is like, how should I say this? It almost kind of sounds like I don't know if they said it explicitly, but I know there were several Japanese developers who saw Ghost of Tsushima and went, oh shit, why didn't we make that? Like, obviously, the timeline is a little more advanced, but this feels like Team Ninja and KT were like, okay, so if we actually did a historical Japanese action game, not necessarily with wizards and demons, what would it look like? And kind of came up with this, and it's like, it's cool. They got some polish. They also got some old baggage, and they got some new baggage because, like I said, they have not necessarily given you the same full breadth of bag of tricks.
I definitely think
question. How easy is it to switch your equipped weapons? Can you pause any time and do it?
No, it's you hold, for the PlayStation, you hold L1 and push up to switch primary and push down to switch secondary. You can do it mid-combat, and it's pretty, like, once you get used to it, it's pretty fast. It's like same thing with, like, changing, styles. If you want to change combat styles, you basically just held L1 and then you hit at the, either left, right, or down on the, R1. Both of those. You hold down R1 and then flick your right analog stick in a direction and it switches. And if you're doing that like mid-attack, you'll actually do another attack while doing it, so you don't.
That is cool. That's very technical. But I meant like for like, because you only got, like you said, you got 2 sub-weapon slots. Like equipping in those slots. Is that can you do that anytime or?
Yeah, you can do that anytime. Just not middle of combat.
Okay. So there's some pausing, but not all the swaps.
Yeah, no, like if I hit pause on the game, my character stops, I go to a different screen. It's not, your character starts just stand still while you browse Brian's menu. There is a proper pause menu.
Thank God. That's another thing that I'm like, I feel like people should have been kicking FromSoft's ass about this like 15 years ago.
No,
but now I think are we getting around to the idea of like, actually wait, not pausing an offline game kind of sucks ass. What if I have to piss or get my DoorDash or, there's a fire? What if I have to feed my cats? And FromSoft is just like, well, fuck you, butter. You better be in a safe space. Die. Like, it's well, yeah, like, it's because of some of their goofiness with multiplayer, I think, as well. But, like, it's just one of those things that, like, I kind of wish they'd started, like, working on that technology earlier. But because their games were more niche and a lot of people just kind of accepted them despite some of their flaws, they got away with some stuff a little bit longer than I think they would have. It's one of those things where, like, you need a little bit of pushback to grow. Completely unrelated, but I'm going to yell about Final Fantasy VII again for a second. We're hearing a lot of stuff about Revelation. And I think a lot of that has to do with, like, sometimes deserved pushback, which is, like, a lot of people have talked about how, like, lucky you and I don't have this problem, because we're freaks. They'll say it, we're the target audience. Some people get overwhelmed by, like, doing the Chadley Towers and, like, seeing all the stuff, and, like, every time you do something in 7 Rebirth, you have a little local intel ticker going up, right? And it can be, like, I can understand how some people can find that overwhelming to just be like, oh shit, there's so much I have to do. You know, like me, I'm like, I love this. I love every single one of these things. Except Chocobo in Cosmo Canyon. Everybody agrees that one was gnarly. We didn't like that. But like, for the most part, it's like, you find new stuff to do and it's exciting. But for like Revelation, they have talked about like both more and less guidance on stuff, of being like a little less map heavy, you know. When you jump out of the high wind, you'll have the opportunity to, like, kind of pick what rough area of the overworld you're going to land on. But then, you know, wherever you land, well, unless you're going to call the high wind back and get picked up, you got to walk, you know? You got to hoof it. Or use your chocobo. You'll have one choco. You'll have access to Pico again. So, like, I think they kind of, like, have learned that lesson because they get to kind of, like, see their feedback, see what they like, see what works, see what didn't, and kind of, you know, adjust. Mm-hmm. I suspect there will be less yellow paint in Revelation, but there will probably be other signs to indicate, hey, you can fucking grab this ledge, idiot. I say idiot, by the way, to myself. That's a me thing. I'm the guy who, like, it's probably a flaw of, like, attention span and time, but, like, I do get lost in games sometimes without the yellow paint or the magical uncharted, you know, white ledges. Mm-hmm. Games are so fucking photoreal these days that it is that thing where it's like, yeah, I can't tell where I'm supposed to go. It all looks the same to me, man. Ooh, this is brightly colored. This must be important. It's like red text in a text box, you know? Actually, that's a good question. I know you talked a little about combat movement abilities, but you also mentioned earlier, and I think I remember from the trailers, the glider. What's the motility? What's the hoof in it like in Rise of the Ronin?
So,
do you do a lot of free climbing?
Like, yes and no. Like I said, you basically start with a grappling hook.
Okay.
And you can use that to get onto specific ledges. You do have a mantle. If you, like, get, like, so far up an edge, and it is an edge you can climb over, you will mantle over it. So, and you can jump. So you can run around on rooftops, ambush people from above, you know, climb towers and stuff. It's pretty good. And like I said, there's 3 areas that the game has taken place so far. It takes place in Yokohama, Edo, and Kyoto. So, you know, pretty urban environments. There's some wilderness in the zones, but it's, like, not a lot. Generally, you're in town areas and stuff. The glider is not as free as you would think. While you can whip it out, generally after, like, any sort of jump, usually it's best for just, you know, maybe making it across the street. Mm-hmm. Because, like I said, flying it around, it does require ki. And, you know, you do gently go down. And I'm going to be real, a lot of the area is kind of flat. And the unfortunate thing is there are little things that you can, like, get grappling to while gliding to, like, give yourself, like, an altitude boost and a speed boost. But they're not as numerous as you think. So you don't actually run into them that often unless there's, like, a specific goal for the glider in mind. Like, once in a while, you'll see, like, the little kites to hook onto or things in a row. And you'll know, oh, if I take my glider and follow that ring, that'll usually link me to a treasure. But gliding just, like, for shits and giggles around town doesn't really happen. Like, if you go to, like, a high place and jump off, you can get some distance, but generally it's not that much faster than just, you know, hoofing it. So you can do some fun stuff there. You can learn to drop earthenware balls from your glider, and you can drop on people from the onto people in an assassination from the glider. So you can do some funny stuff with it. But in terms of mobility, it's just kind of meh, I would say.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of missed some ideas there.
No, we missed some steps. I feel like the glider was part of the everyone's doing fucking gliders.
Yeah, I was about to say it's the Breath of the Wildification where somebody in the C-suite said, you know what the kids love these days? They love gliders. You gotta glide everywhere. And they're like, well, we're not really planning a complex verticality in our action game, Maybe you can drop down on people and they're like, whatever, we need gliders. Also, it's funny, like, it's interesting. Parts of Japan are turbo flat, but Japan is not necessarily a flat country, so it's interesting to see I guess we would still have some relatively low-to-the-ground buildings.
Well, like castles? I said, it's all the urban areas.
Any cool castles to scale, or is it mostly,
we can go to Kiyomadera, I can't pronounce it. The fucking tall temple in fucking Kyoto.
Cool, okay.
That's pretty high. I don't know
that's good to get a little sightseeing in, but yeah, it's if you're listen, I know that, it is actually, technically, that's a thing from, dumbass ninja fiction from before Breath of the Wild, but it's, that is a little disappointing to be well, hey, you can glide, but we didn't design the game with parkour verticality in mind. It's not Assassin's Creed. What if you can glide in Assassin's Creed Shadows?
Maybe? I don't know.
Haven't tried it.
I think I might play fucking Assassin's Creed Shadows, but probably not anytime soon.
For the moment, anyway, since I'm not completely disenfranchised, I'll catch it whenever eventually it ends up on PS Plus, because all those fucking Ubisoft games keep ending up in there. At this rate, it'll be next year, because we did Outlaws. Speaking of which, there are a couple of interesting monthly games I also need to check out. They're already up. One of them is Signalis, a game which people have talked about a lot, of many reasons. That's definitely on my radar to actually go ahead and check out, because it has Yellow King things I've heard upon the wind. You know me, I'm like Carcosa. But also another game that I think was day and date is Big Walk, which you can.
Oh, is
with
Big
friends.
Walk is Big Walk day and date?
Yeah, it's out already.
Really?
It's on PS Plus.
Oh shit! I'm gonna have to get that. I've heard nothing but great things about Big Walk.
Yeah, it's a funny, weird game you can play with your friends, or if you want to actually do puzzles, you can play alone. That's the general vibe I've heard. But yes, it was day and date, and it's out already on PS Plus.
Holy shit! I did not know that. That was one of those things I was thinking of getting.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah, I made sure to check. We might try some co-op stuff sometime, or we can check it out solo. But yeah, it's a game that I added to my list. But yeah, anything else about Rise of Ronin to say?
Fashion is on point. So this is a very interesting time in Japan's history where we are basically getting the influences of both the East and the West here, and your fashion is completely glammable, and it's in parts. So you have it's not just you wear top. It's not that you wear gloves, top, bottom, shoes, head. Actually, no, the armor saw. I was like, wait a minute. I only have 4 slots. I said 5 things here. What happened there? No, it's head, body, arms, legs for armor. But each one of those parts can actually be separate things. When you get a piece of equipment, it's added automatically to your glamour, and you can go back and mix and match. Like the head, shoes, and arms are usually one piece of item. They're usually like some sort of glove, hat, or shoes. But there are several varieties. There's they say there's headbands, there's casa, there's hats for that. There's Japanese there's sand for footwear. There's sandals, shoes, and then boots. But when you get into the body, it actually starts really breaking down. You can have innerwear, different shirts. You can have then your shirts, then you have outerwear, then you have belts, then you have pants, then you have several accessories like scarves and ties and stuff. So you can really, really make someone unique to yourself, and you can really blend. You can either go full Western clothing or go full Japanese clothing, or do some sort of blend clothing. For the longest time, I was wearing the shinobi robes with the trouser hakama, but I had on the secret agent coat, riding boots, and the secret agent hat. So I was it was like these Japanese cloth robes underneath a leather duster and boots. I was like, yes,
oh hell yeah,
I am amazing.
Nah, that's sick.
And
that's
it was factor. No, it's super cool and it's super fun. Like I said, fashion is on fleek. Oh, excuse me. And And like I said, like, a lot of the weapons look really cool, too. Like, honestly, I think this is one of the things I think I've noticed. There are some carryovers. I do believe that they copy-pasted some assets from Neo in here, including, like, some animations and stuff. But honestly, they probably did it to save themselves some fucking time.
No, that's pretty typical. You know, if you've got animation rigs and like, especially with game engines, you got that stuff that works. Like, you reuse it.
Like, I'm pretty sure the kicking open the small chest one is just the one where reused from Neo.
Honestly,
Same
depending
with,
on
like,
how
the emote system.
depending on how they made those animations, right? Like, I don't know if it's the same engine or not. But that, like, depending on how they did that, they may have just recorded the raw data for that and be like, hey, do we need to get a guy in here and mocap kicking open a chest? No, I still have the kick open chest from Neo number 1. Cool, use that.
Also, I'm not sure, but I think they reused some assets in some fucking landscapes. I swear they used the same assets in Neo's 3 courtesan section as they did in the courtesan sections in this game. They look super fucking familiar. They're not one-to-one, but I'm looking at some of the design choices, I'm all like, this looks very familiar. Like I said, I haven't actually gone into it. Oh, that reminds me. Neo 3 did announce their first DLC, and I do think they're going to have some new weapons. I need to go check that out at some point.
Oh, that's right, actually, I remember. It got retweeted or shared in games or something. I saw it. I perceived it with my eyes.
Mm-hmm. But no, I think that's enough from me about Rise of the Ronin. Like, I would say it's a good game. It's not a great game. It's a great game to while away the time, too. Like I said, it has the open world, you know, collect 100 cats, but it's not, like, hard to collect 100 cats. It's actually kind of fun. They always have a little animation where they might jump into your arms and be like, hello there, or be like, you pick them up and they're like, human, stop touching me. And you're like, heh, cats.
Free me. No, that's neat. That's nice. All right. Sorry, I was getting a little stuffy in here. It's cooling off outside, which means the aircon's not running as much. But I mentioned it earlier, but I can say a few things. I have been playing a little bit of Outlaws. I've not finished yet, but we're getting close. I have finished all 3 of the primary get a guy missions. Honestly, it's interesting about the timing, but I think they're all pretty good. The interesting thing about Tatooine is that we don't resolve having a heavy for a little bit. I do like, I think it's Giddick, the droid smith. That's actually a really good moment for Kay to kind of like confront with her past and deal with people she knows. And he has a great conversation in the ship I like a lot. Mm-hmm. Which is at one point Kay's talking about it and he's like, no, Kay, you gotta understand. I just need you to realize I'm over it, but I need you to realize there are 2 Ks, 2 K Vesses. The 1 K Vess, left me to get arrested by the cops back on Canto Bight, and the other one risked her life to bail me out. So, putting up front of, like, hey, you've changed, and, like, I don't necessarily hold your past shit against you if you can be a better person. Which is, good. It's good for character growth. And then I assume it's after you do all 3, but it sends you back to that planet anyway. You get a lot of ND time.
Yes, excellent.
Some big ND subplot stuff and like character arc stuff. Also, separately, the last expert I found is called the Veteran. It's a disabled BX commando droid.
Oh, rad.
You park at a secret spot and like talk to him, and he's just and like K says, "Oh hey, ND, it's another you, but he's broken." And he's like, "I am not broken. My optics are busted though. I need to report," and like sends you on a little side quest, and he unlocks some interesting stuff. Another, like resiliency, decoding like separatist transmissions you may have found, and some other little tricksies. But that one also has a lot of vibes of like Kay, gently or not so gently probing ND about the war, and ND just being like, Kay, I don't know if you realize this yet. I am a literal killing machine. Hello? I was built to kill people? Good? I kill people real good. K Vest, do you understand what an elite mook is? I'm a mini boss, K.
K just kind of shakes her head like, no.
I'm
uneducated.
The BXs in yeah, true. But the BXs in Clone Wars were always treated as like elite high class enemies, even more than super battle droids. They got the cool shit like energy shields, like riot shields, and swords. But yeah, so like that's really good. And I'm into like the pre-heist setup and stuff. There's some very interesting things going on, some very obvious twists. I will say, while Kay hasn't realized it yet, you're 100% right. After some stuff happens, right, and some very upsetting things happen.
Is he the brother?
Oh, they didn't say it in 100% words, but that motherfucker basically confirmed it. After some stuff happens, Jaden sits down with Kay and says, "Hey, Kay, you wouldn't know this. I came from money. My family used to build ships on Corellia. Then the Empire came and tore us apart." I'm like, you motherfucker! You motherfucker! And you're telling me to let go of shit, but this is a you thing. Unless you don't know somehow, but you've seen his fucking face, so you know. He's trying to pretend it's just business, but it's actually family drama.
Okay. So this is the K foil. This is what happens if you don't let go of shit. You turn into this guy.
Yeah, basically, you build your entire life, build a huge empire, and you're gonna waste it all to, like, embarrass your brother or something. But no, Kay gets a lot of good development on that front, on her other family stuff and issues, like with ND and stuff. We get a little bit of Rebel touchback.
I'm not looking forward to that.
It's interesting, because, like, we don't really seem to blame Kay for freaking out, but I don't know. Maybe it's because we're post Hoth, and it's like we can take all the hell we can get. I don't know, but it's not like a lot. It's like you get an extra tack on to another mission, and you gotta hang out with some stuff. There's a little bit of the recruiting of like, hey, you could join the galaxy, and Kay's just like, yeah, whatever, man. I'll spoil a little something here, but there's a line Kay has about it that's kind of in the midpoint of this arc, which is like where she just straight up says, "You rebels are just another crime syndicate. You just do whatever you want and don't care who gets pinched in the process." And I'm like, Kay, wow, I understand how you could say that from your perspective, but also, wow, that's very funny to say from a perspective of a viewer of this franchise. And I don't know, like, I don't actually know if the arc is she's going to get over that, because I don't think they're going to be like in the final bit necessarily. It's interesting. But yeah, I got some other mission stuff to do, and now I'm like, I need to wrap that up so I can play other video games, can experiment, do more speeder jumps. But yeah, let's see. We're about 4.5 hours into the recording, and it's after 3 a.m. We did start a little late because I did run movie night, and Patlabor 2, the movie, was a little longer. It's pretty good. I understand why a lot of people think favorably of it over the first one. The plot's a lot more cohesive in Patlabor 2. And there are, like, more action scenes spread throughout. That said, it still has a lot of the, what I want to say, like, the Momoto Oshii-isms of, like, there are some character arcs, but a lot of characters are just kind of there, just kind of vibing. And, you know, we still get to we don't necessarily really, like, resolve some stuff of, like, thematics. We just, like, introduce things to make you think about it. I realize that's the thing, I think, like, between the Ghost in the Shells and, like, watching Patlabor. I think that's the thing that Mamoru Oshii likes. He likes to make you think about stuff. He doesn't necessarily have a conclusion about some of that stuff. Like, I think he leans a certain way, based on, like, what elements he brings in. But, like, sometimes he just wants you to think about, like, you know, hey, Japan, is it cool, that we have a self-defense force and not an army, but we benefit from the military-industrial complex? Are we okay with that? You okay with that, everybody? I think that's what Patlabor 2 is about. You know, what's Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence about? Well, you know, are robots people? Should we treat them humanely? I don't know. But it is interesting to have kept up on Ghost in the Shell by Science Saru, and to see the episodes that, like, the manga chapters, I should say, that became episodes that influenced, you know, Ghost in the Shell 2. They're cool episodes, but also I'm like, they got some new shit. They're doing some crazy shit. You may or may not have seen some GIFs going around of last week's episode of, they did a really cool, like, data mosh pixel rip transition for when the Major reads a disc with her brain. It's pretty neato. But yeah, I have in my notes, if we wanted to discuss anything with the 14 Fan Fest. I think we got a decent amount of that in the streams of 14 we've done. I don't know if there's anything else we want to talk about 14 related. I went to scratch my chin and had to itch my nose. Mm-hmm. Sorry, it's a little stuffy in here. It's getting to me. I did go ahead and press Death Watch. We should mention at least that we're taking a hiatus from tabletopping. It's very hot, and several of us are exploding. And it'll be good to take a little bit of rest. We talk about it a little more in the episode at the end, but we've talked a lot about it off camera. But this we did decide we wanted to finish the current mission, and I think it was pretty cool. It ran pretty long. I think honestly, like, it's funny to think about, like, how my writing changed as we did stuff. I think I was in the middle of writing Mission 5 as we actually started playing, so, like, it's definitely like I'm like, yeah, probably. You know, it was 2-100 because that's the highest ranking kill marker to get you more renowned and experience and more rec. Mm-hmm. So it's like, but it's like, I probably should have massaged that so that there were, like, the numbers were more consistent to make it more Or to make it like, I didn't want a set number of waves because I wanted it to be a little chaotic, but
Yeah.
I ended up editing my waves on the fly anyway. I probably could have just, like, done it in, like, 4 batches. It ran a little long. I think you guys did a pretty good job, and, like, at one point I was like, no, I think you guys' tactical position is pretty sure. I could make you shoot more guys to suck up more bullets and make you run out that way, but that doesn't sound very fun for me or you. Like, I had a few funny trick stat blocks I didn't get to use, but that's my own fault for not putting them sooner in the queue, you know? I started with normal stuff. But I think part of it ran a little long because the D1. Very, very, in the first wave of defense, D1 very tricksy. Took him a while to get his shit together. And he went down in the middle of the episode, so he had to roll physical dice anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, the episode is out if you want to catch up. Anything else, besides Rise of Ronin and Final Fantasy 14ing? Anything else you've been doing during the week, Lucky?
Not particularly, no. Like I said, I'm all kinds of messed up right now.
Yeah, it's one of those weeks. I forgot to mention it earlier, but yeah, we didn't do Fail Portrayal this week because even though it was planned and I scheduled it, and I rescheduled it because that Tuesday, my internet was just fucked. I opened up OBS, I started to start the pre-stream. It had been a little spotty, so I told the guys, hey, I might delay a little to see if my internet clears up, and I'm like, okay, I'll try it. OBS was dropping 98% of the frames and could not stay connected to YouTube, right? Even when it was on. So I'm just yeah, this shit isn't working. Honestly, probably a blessing in disguise, talking about being a little fucked up. I mentioned this to you later because I did hop back into Final Fantasy 14. But after being okay, I'm rescheduling the stream, we're not doing it tonight, my internet's fucked. I laid down and put a pillow over my face and I crashed out for napped for 3 or 4 hours. And still ended up going to bed at my regular time. So I was fucking tired. I was tired that day. And that's not so much the napping, but that's been the kind of week I've been having. So yeah, like I said, it's very, very sketch. Doing a little reading, doing a little watching. Probably going to do more reading and editing on this. So, if Lucky has nothing further to add, we could probably wrap up. It's almost 3:30.
Yeah, let's do that.
But tomorrow's Sunday, so it's fine. Okay. We're going to get on out of here. Thanks, everybody, for listening to all the little bits. As I said before, sorry, I lost that sentence for a second there. Be sure to leave your comments below if you want to talk about, anything in particular we've got going on. We love to see them. If you are new, drop a comment. Consider, letting us know. We will be back later with some Ordeal Call 3 recapping. And obviously, we will know more about what's going on with Summer. In fact, by next show recording, which should be on the Friday, we may even have started the event, so we may even have, proper unit details as well, not just, who's on the banners, but, we might see some of them. So be sure to tune into that. Let's Talk FGO gets recorded every week. We will be back Monday streaming more Resident Evil Revelations. I almost said a number in there for some reason. That's not correct. Revelations 2, not Resident Evil, an integer between 4 and 6. I'm not sure which number I was going to say, but yeah, it's Rev 2. Again, assuming that my internet does not have it, it's been fine since then. I do not know what was going on. Maybe there was a fire. It was too hot. Something. Stormfront. Don't know. But hopefully next Tuesday we'll be back for Fail Portrayal to actually do the Lord of the Rings bit. Wednesday we'll be back to Final Fantasy the 14. It will be Moonfire Fair, and I do want that Moogle floaty chair. So we'll be checking out Summer. I need to go in my pocket and see what kind of summer looks I can whip up. And then probably punching the shit out of the Northhorn again. A lot of occult jobs, a lot of phantom jobs to level. So be sure to be liking and subscribing and stuff to keep track of all that on the channel. You can also, in addition to leaving your comments, you can join our Discord. It's free. It's to everybody. It does have a patron-only channel, but it's otherwise you can access all the other channels of our Discord. You can talk about games. You can talk about anime. You can talk about music and movies. And also you can talk about FGO and lots of other mobile games. Many robust mobile game communities. Let's see. Sorry, I'm running through the mental checklist. It's a little late, and I have been a little tired, but I think that's most of everything, except to say that obviously, you can join our channel memberships, and you can consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to the audio version of the show for as little as $1 a month. Get the audio feed. But also, you can, at higher tiers, you can get access to some video releases early and vote in our topic polls like Fan Servant Friday. And you can listen to us record Let's Take FGO live every week while we are recording. Assuming, we're not incapacitated. There's still the normal rules of employment. I would not make anybody record Let's Talk FGO from their hospital bed. But patrons can listen to it live, and at their highest tier, they can get live shoutouts like Adam Tart, Blackstone G, Call Me Said, Carlos, Dragonet, JDV9000, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Robin, and Charvor. Thanks, everybody of all stripes, for listening. We'll see you next week for more Let's Talk FGO. Bye-bye!
Bye!